This young man is Jin Sung, a level 93 player today. Jin Sung was monster hunting as usual, and he quickly took down a hulking ogre. He was planning to farm about 100,000 gold and then bounce when another monster suddenly appeared in front of him. This time it was a two-headed ogre. One head was bald. While the other had a 20-centimeter horn, the giant monster attacked Jin Sung, and thanks to his haste skill, he managed to dodge the attack. Right now, Jin Sung only had one haste skill left. It was usable for 1 minute, and he also had a stun trap. Without a second thought, Jin Sung lured the monster into the trap. Now the monster was paralyzed for about 5 seconds and became weakened. Jin Sung seized the opportunity, activated all his skills, and fired a critical arrow straight through the monster's chest. After defeating the two-headed ogre, Jin Sung received 98,500 experience points. He also got the Ogre Warrior's cuirass and boots, and Jin Sung exclaimed, "Oh my god, getting just one piece of the Ogre Warrior set is as rare as winning the lottery. And I got 2 pieces. I must have used up a month's worth of luck." And that's not all. Jin Sung also received a Mulan crystal. This is a very valuable item. It can unlock a hidden class from the class change NPC. The problem is it's only for players under level 10 who haven't undergone their first class change yet. For a level 93 player to receive this, he was truly the epitome of luck. But Jin Sung was also troubled because this item couldn't be sold. So it could only be used to re-roll a character, but he was currently a top-ranked player on the server. Going back to level 1 would suck big time. Only kids need to think it over. An adult like Jin Sung decisively returned to the city. He went to see an old merchant and asked him if he had an item called the Potion of Rebirth. The old man was like, "You come to the right place, bro. I just got one in." As he spoke, he handed Jin Sung a red potion and didn't forget to warn him once you chug it. All the power you currently have will disappear and you can't go back. It seemed the old man's warning was redundant because that was exactly what Jin Sung wanted. All right, let's do this. After saying that, Jin Sung drank it down with relish, and his level and stats were immediately reset. The scene changes to the Tramble Training Center. At this time, other players were very surprised and gossiping about Jin Sung. He had been training for over a day. Someone even said they had never seen such an intense training session before. Like an adventurer in search of true power, the next day, the first thing Jin Sung did was look for the Summoners Guild. Very quickly, he found a house. This was the Summoner Class Change Center. When he entered, the atmosphere was deserted. It seemed Jin Sung was the first one to arrive. He went upstairs to meet Guildmaster Ken. He stated his request directly. He wanted to change his class to Summoner. The Guildmaster mused, "The path of a summoner is not easy. Taming fierce monsters is not a task that just anyone can do." Jin Sung replied, "Because it's difficult. I think it's an amazing class." That was just his advice, though. The Guildmaster knew that Jin Sung met the qualifications to change classes, so he asked one last time to be sure if he really wanted to change his current class to Summoner. "Of course, I am absolutely sure." After that, Jin Sung gave Guildmaster Ken the Mulan crystal. He happily accepted it and praised Jin Sung for being more incredible than he thought. Jin Sung thought to himself, "Now hurry up and give me the hidden class." Just then, Ken said he wanted to ask Jin Sung for a favor. "A blue-eyed wolf is currently appearing in the Ramas Plains. My son has already changed his class to Summoner. And he said he wants a blue-eyed wolf as his summoned beast. I want you to go and capture it." After hearing this, Jin Sung was surprised. Isn't the blue-eyed wolf a rare monster? That's over level 40, isn't it? Why is such a strong monster mentioned in a class change quest for a level 10 beginner at this point? Ken continued, "I'm currently very busy here, so I can't go capture it myself. Besides, it's embarrassing for me to say this. But my son isn't strong enough to face it. I will give you 5 binding magic scrolls. Weaken the wolf first, and then bind it with a magic scroll. The wolf appearing in the Ramas Plains is still a pup, so it's not that strong." As soon as he finished speaking, the system announced the quest to Jin Sung. The reward for completing the quest was the Monster Tamer Summoner class. Seeing this, Jin Sung accepted the quest immediately. Ken said that if he failed, he could come see him again. He would provide some other support items, meaning this quest wouldn't disappear after a single failure. After understanding this, Jin Sung quickly set off feeling quite confident. Because even though he was currently at level 10, his stats were almost like those of a level 30 player, so this would be easy. Very quickly, the blue-eyed wolf came into Jin Sung's view, and after checking its information, Jin Sung learned that its level was 20, although his stats were quite good. But for a level 10 player to face a level 20 monster was still enough to make one feel intimidated. Jin Sung didn't think that quests for hidden classes were usually this difficult. Jin Sung took out his bow and arrow. Then he knocked an arrow, drew the bowstring taut, and aimed carefully. The first arrow shot out and hit the monster's back. Even though it was still a pup, the fierce nature of the blue-eyed wolf was already showing. The wolf turned its head and glared at Jin Sung with hateful eyes. Then it charged towards him at breakneck speed. Jin Sung took out another arrow, but he felt that if he shot again, he was afraid the monster would die. That wouldn't meet the quest requirement to capture it alive, so he chose another method using his fists to take down the aggressively charging blue-eyed wolf. It took one of Jin Sung's punches straight to the face. Its whole body began to tremble, seemingly from both pain and humiliation on the other side after landing the first punch. Jin Sung seemed even more fired up and decided to beat this monster to a pulp, just like that. Jin Sung seriously used physical attacks to lower the wolf's health bar down to the required level for the quest, but when he used the magic scroll to bind it, it was unsuccessful. Jin Sung was very confused. He was pretty sure that if he attacked again, the wolf would die, so Jin Sung had to take out a pork leg to feed it. To heal it first so it wouldn't die, and then he continued to beat it up. The wolf was completely helpless, but what could it do? The weaker one can only submit to the stronger one. And so some more time passed. Jin Sung beat it to a pulp and then healed it several times, and he finally succeeded. He tamed it with the magic scroll that Ken had given him. It was just a pity that he had wasted too much time by now. Probably quite a few players had already changed their class to Summoner. Thinking of this, Jin Sung eagerly returned. Ken seemed very excited to see Jin Sung succeed on his very first try. Usually the first quest for the Tamer class ends in failure. But you succeeded right away. It's truly unbelievable. So can I become a Tamer now? Jin Sung asked impatiently. In response, Ken gave a firm shake of his head. No, the Tamer class is really not suitable for you. At first, Jin Sung thought he was going to go back on his word. But unexpectedly, Ken then eagerly asked if he wanted to become a master. Jin Sung received a new notification with the message, Guildmaster Ken was impressed by your abilities, and he wants you to walk the path of a master. Jin Sung was extremely surprised. He had never heard of a class quest that could transform like this. And if he accepted Ken's offer, Jin Sung would walk the path of a taming master. There was no mistake. This was a higher-tier class than Tamer, and of course Jin Sung had no reason to refuse. After he agreed, the class change process began quickly. Jin Sung received 500 fame points and became the first person to obtain this hidden class. After the class change, Jin Sung could feel the surging power flowing through his body. The first thing he needed to do now was to tame a beast. To get the hang of it, and the first target Jin Sung aimed for was the red wolf from the tutorial section. At that time, Jin Sung was filled with determination. He would definitely become the first person to become the strongest using this class. However, when Jin Sung moved to the Red Wolf's location, there were already many summoners there. Judging by their appearance, it seemed they were all trying to capture that monster. Jin Sung silently clicked his tongue. He didn't think this group would be even faster than him. Well, for now, I'll just stand here and see what they plan to do. Fine, then. And the method these people used was to join forces and attack under that fierce assault. The monster's HP was gradually dropping to 0. However, just when the group thought they were about to successfully bind it, the red wolf rose up powerfully as if it had never been hurt. Luckily, Jin Sung had watched them practice first and realized that it was actually very difficult to capture a monster of such a high level. Just as it took a long time to find them, this red wolf was now surrounded by too many people, so Jin Sung felt it would be better to catch a monster he discovered first. So he quickly left the crowded place. Soon, Jin Sung came across a pack of wolves, and he was really curious about how many he could catch with his current stats. Jin Sung chose to stand on a high cliff. From this position, looking down, he had a clear advantage, especially since his current weapon was still a bow for long-range attacks. No sooner said than done. Jin Sung immediately knocked an arrow on his already drawn bowstring, and it really took him no effort to catch the first wolf, of course. Jin Sung controlled his shot so as not to finish it off, and with that he successfully captured the wolf alive. It was a mid-tier level 12 monster with the following attributes: 75 stamina, 23 attack power, 12 defense, 19 speed, and 8 intelligence. But what caught Jin Sung's attention the most was the personality section of this wolf species, described as timid and unable to grow. He couldn't help but mumble, "What the heck is this timid? Monsters have personalities too." Well, whatever. In any case, he wasn't satisfied with just one, so Jin Sung continued his career of hunting for summoned beasts. After many attempts, he finally hit the secret jackpot, unlike the previous timid wolves. This time, Jin Sung caught an agile wolf with an intelligent personality. In addition, although it was the same level as its pack, its stats were much higher. From this, Jin Sung could draw a conclusion: monsters of the same level could still possess different stats. His eyes immediately locked onto the pack of wolves strolling below. A question arose in his mind. Jin Sung really wanted to know which wolf in this pack had the highest stats. He decided to spend the entire day hunting wolves. Jin Sung planned to catch them all and then release some, keeping only the ones with the highest stats. After repeating this process dozens of times, Jin Sung's critical stat increased by 1 point, and he also received the title of Wolf Expert for capturing a large number of this type of monster. This title allowed him to identify high-level wolves without having to catch them anymore. Jin Sung let out an "oh," so that title is quite useful after all. But it would be better if it could be applied to all other monsters. Well, he was still in the early stages of his new class, so he shouldn't ask for too much. Jin Sung immediately tested the analytical power of that title. After that, he could indeed see the levels of the entire wolf pack. Among them, Jin Sung locked onto one that looked much more aggressive at a glance, and it seemed to know it had been targeted. So it ferociously charged towards him to attack, but it was a pity with those level 11 attributes. It was no match for him. Jin Sung didn't even bother using his bow. Instead, he used his fists again and was still able to complete the capture of his target with ease. He immediately captured it in his summoned beast space. Although this wolf was level 11, its attribute points were significantly higher than its peers, even higher than a level 13 wolf. And its personality was courageous. Most importantly, it could grow, while the personality category for all the other wolves was cannot grow. This alone was enough for Jin Sung to determine that this was the one he needed to focus on training. Without a second thought, he immediately released all the other wolves. This was his very first summoned beast. Jin Sung gave it the name Lily. It seemed to really like the name its master gave it, and its loyalty immediately increased by 5 points. Jin Sung couldn't help but chuckle. It seemed his start with his first summoned beast was going quite smoothly. Afterwards, Jin Sung led it to go hunting. In another development, Yu Hyun was sighing endlessly as he thought about his friend. The root cause was that their Lotus Guild had become noticeably weaker since the day Jin Sung left. Before that, he had also revealed to him that he would be changing his class to a summoner, but Yu Hyun wasn't sure exactly how good this class's combat proficiency was. So in his spare time, he went online to look up some information about this new class. However, what hit Yu Hyun's eyes were all articles with extremely harsh titles such as "The Summoner class is a complete joke" and "Everyone please don't become a summoner." Yu Hyun scrolled for a while, and finally found a post that sounded more promising. It was the thoughts of a level 12 summoner after a hunt. This person said that as soon as the new server opened. They had changed their class to a summoner. At first, this class made them really happy, but it had a major disadvantage: the player would earn experience points at a very slow rate because the summoned beast took up a large portion of the experience points. Therefore, leveling up was slower than a turtle's pace. Below were all negative comments, which made Yu Hyun even more worried since his best buddy had to recreate his character to change classes. If he changed to a trash-tier class, he would be truly done for. The slow leveling seems to be true, huh? Then it will probably be a long time before he reaches level 20 and returns to the guild, Yu Hyun mumbled. Meanwhile, inside the world of Callan, Jin Sung was still diligently hunting with Lily, and contrary to what Yu Hyun was worried about, he had already reached level 20. Lily was an extremely intelligent and obedient summoned beast. When Jin Sung told it to follow his arrow and not to attack first, it would obey unconditionally. On this bow draw, Jin Sung activated the Blessing of the Wind effect, increasing his speed by 37%. The arrow he shot hit a red fox right in the back, and Lily, who was waiting, quickly rushed forward to deliver the finishing blow to the prey. By the time Jin Sung arrived, his Lily had already gained the upper hand. He was extremely satisfied because in reality, its level and stats were lower than that of the red fox. Yet Lily had charged in without any fear. It seems the courageous assessment of its personality was completely reliable. And just like that, the master and summon hunted together in perfect harmony. Every time Jin Sung took down a monster, his summoned beast would also receive a portion of the experience points. To be more precise, the experience points were split evenly between the two of them, but Jin Sung wasn't impatient about it. In fact, he tried to grind even harder to level Lily up to at least level 15. Besides hunting, Jin Sung also activated the basic training skill, which had a 35-minute cooldown. With this skill, his summoned beast improved its understanding of the summoner's commands. The summon's potential would gradually increase based on training, and Lily's current potential was a whopping level 65. After that, Jin Sung activated the first aid skill, which restored 45 HP to his summoned beast upon use, and so while hunting. He diligently used various training skills, and finally his Lily reached level 15. Jin Sung was quite satisfied, even though the leveling was much slower than he thought. Although he had to split experience points with Lily, he found training it very interesting, especially as it grew stronger with each level up. This gave Jin Sung a great sense of accomplishment. To celebrate Lily reaching level 15, Jin Sung took it to a new hunting area. This time their targets were a pack of black bears. Before the hunt, Jin Sung received 2 new notifications. First, his skill proficiency had increased. His basic summoning skill had leveled up to 2, rewarding him with 3 skill points. Second, Jin Sung had learned a new active skill, Blessing of the Wild Warrior, and a passive skill, Basic Tactics. The hard grinding had indeed paid off well. Jin Sung was eager to see what these skills could do. He opened the information for Blessing of the Wild Warrior to check it first. The energy required to activate this skill was 150 MP. It could be applied to the user themselves as well as party members for about 20 minutes with the effect of increasing attack power by 30%, especially if this skill was applied to a summoned beast. The increased effect would be up to 100%. In short, it was a pretty neat buff skill. Next, Jin Sung opened up Basic Tactics to check it out. Its effect was to increase the leadership and taming stats by 10%, making it easier for summoned beasts to understand their master's commands in battle. Jin Sung raised an eyebrow with interest. If his leadership skill increased by 10%, then he could totally tame a bear, couldn't he? As he said that, Jin Sung cast his gaze over the pack of bears below, wondering if there was any bear as strong as his Lily. After confirming his target, he immediately used the taming skill on one of them. Thanks to Basic Tactics, his leadership stat had indeed increased a lot. Jin Sung had obtained all the information on the opponent. He opened the monster's information panel, intending to compare its stats with Lily's. Then Jin Sung was utterly astonished to discover that the stats of his level 15 Lily completely outclassed that level 38 bear. It was just that the bear was also noted as being able to evolve. Jin Sung was also curious to know what form it could possibly evolve into. And so, after resting enough, he immediately summoned Lai. This wolf became particularly enthusiastic. Lai was responsible for attracting the bear's attention. Although its level and size were much greater than Li's, as mentioned, its stats were far inferior, so the bear was completely overwhelmed. Li kept darting back and forth in front of it. It drove the black bear crazy. Jin Sung was extremely satisfied. The basic training skill was truly amazing. Li could completely understand the fighting style he wanted. Finally, when the bear had been toyed with to the point of exhaustion, he just needed to shoot an arrow from a distance and hit a vital spot. Just like that, he successfully finished off the prey. After hunting the bear, Li leveled up to level 19. Jin Sung was extremely happy, constantly petting his first summoned beast. "Grow up faster now, good boy," he said. "It's just that there was another issue to be concerned about. That was the fact that leveling up was gradually slowing down. If they just continued hunting like this..." Jin Sung felt he should also do quests to level up to level 20, but he was already exhausted now. He had no choice but to log out to rest a bit. Jin Sung left the game, took a shower, and his mind felt much clearer. But before going to sleep, he still had to go online to check the gamer community forums. Without even looking, Jin Sung bet there were a lot of losers trash-talking online. Just as he predicted, the internet was flooded with complaints about the summoner class. It was true that this class leveled up quite slowly, but Jin Sung didn't think that besides himself. Everyone else was having that much trouble. Jin Sung guessed the online reviews were all written by people who had reached level 15, while most summoner skills required reaching that level or higher to be usable. However, after doing some serious research, he discovered that no one had even reached this level yet. Besides him, who had reached level 20, the highest level reviewer had only reached level 13. He read this post seriously. The post mentioned a few skills like Taming, Blessing of the Wind, and First Aid, which were generally quite similar to his. However, the thing that caught Jin Sung's attention the most was a skill called Possession, which he didn't have. The effect of this skill was to allow the user to possess the soul of one of the monsters they had tamed. 30% of the possessed monster's soul stats would be added to the summoner's stats, and this possessed monster could not be summoned in battles. Jin Sung frowned, starting to feel resentful that he didn't have this skill. In fact, it was quite good. It was the only way for a summoner to survive, and because this skill didn't share the experience gained with the summoned beast. The summoner themselves could still level up quite quickly, but how could you fight while inside a pet's body? Jin Sung was very curious about this issue, especially since it wasn't a 100% stat conversion. Moreover, doing so would make it impossible to level up the summoned beast, when that was the best part of being a summoner. So after weighing the pros and cons, he felt like he didn't really need this skill. Thinking it over, Jin Sung suddenly realized that a normal summoner's skills seemed different from his. If that was the case, the question now was to see what skills he had that normal summoners didn't. Thinking it over, normal summoners didn't possess the basic training skill like Jin Sung, although there wasn't much information according to what he had found. His hidden class Taming Master had fewer combat skills than a normal summoner, but Jin Sung didn't feel disappointed about that, because raising a stronger summoned beast gave him a much greater sense of accomplishment. It also meant that compared to most other summoners, he was the one on the right path. This made Jin Sung even more determined to try and catch a new, rare, and unique beast tomorrow. So Jin Sung went to bed early and woke up very early. At 4 in the morning, he got into his gaming device, determined to help Lai reach level 20 before dawn. As soon as he entered Kailan, he summoned Li. Their new day of hunting began again. The target this time was still the Asiatic black bears. After reaching level 19, Jin Sung's Li had become even stronger, looking at the way it mercilessly tore at its prey. It really saved Jin Sung a lot of effort. Jin Sung sighed. Time really flew. He had also hunted here when he was a level 35 archer. But now the hunting speed was much faster than before. He and Lai coordinated more and more smoothly. Prey fell one after another before their attacks and during this process. Jin Sung discovered a black bear that was significantly larger than the rest. After activating a skill to check the opponent's information, Jin Sung found out it was a rare and unique beast. Then this would be his next summoned beast. However, Jin Sung ran into a problem. His leadership stat was too low to capture it. Upon reading this system notification, Jin Sung couldn't help but curse out loud. Oh, damn it. So my stats are still not enough. Having no other choice, Jin Sung had to change his approach. He mumbled that next time he returned to town, he would definitely buy a bunch of new soul contract scrolls. After that, Jin Sung got a running start from a distance, leaped high into the air, and shot an arrow straight at that shadow bear. Lai also assisted him enthusiastically. Its combat stats were now almost on par with Jin Sung himself, so a level 38 beast wasn't too big of a problem. Since he couldn't bring the bear back as a summoned beast, Jin Sung had no choice but to kill it to receive 1,045 experience points upon success. Lai also officially advanced to level 20. Jin Sung was extremely satisfied because after reaching level 20, Li could participate in everything in Kailan. For example, joining guilds doing dungeon or labyrinth quests and many other quests that required reaching level 20. He then proceeded to examine the items he had just received. They were in order: Asiatic black bear meat, a bear hunter's battle axe, and the immortal shadow necklace. Jin Sung had never seen these items before, so he decided to use an appraisal scroll to check them. And that necklace was the most valuable item. It was a unique necklace of unknown origin, but the system deemed it very valuable. Its effect was to increase HP by 15% and reduce skill cooldown time by 20%. Previously, Jin Sung had obtained a pretty good necklace from an auction, but this one was much better, so he was overjoyed. With the item inventory check done, he turned to check how much Lai's stats had increased. And almost all of Lai's stats had increased. A big question mark immediately appeared in Jin Sung's mind. What is this, he thought to himself. Do monsters get stronger when they level up? No! This is too absurd. Lai's growth rate isn't normal at all. This surely can't be a coincidence. Jin Sung thought for a long time to find the reason for this. Finally, he had a breakthrough. It was Lai's potential stat. His basic training skill had increased its potential. Thinking back, every time the potential stat increased by 10, the growth rate would also increase. I knew it, Jin Sung exclaimed. He was right. The hidden class also had its own unique skills. All monsters also possessed their own potential stats, and it determined their growth rate when leveling up. In other words, a monster's class advanced on its own through its potential, and his basic training skill was what increased it. Therefore, Jin Sung decided to spend all his remaining skill points on training. After he upgraded it, the basic training skill immediately shot up in level to 5 and became the intermediate training skill. Its cooldown was 25 minutes. When activating the skill, Jin Sung could select a pet to enter training mode for 15 minutes. During that time, the summoned beast would better understand its master's commands, and its potential would also increase by repeating this training mode. Moreover, that potential would also increase with the level of the intermediate training skill. Jin Sung felt lucky that he had saved his skill points instead of stubbornly trying to catch that bear. He also felt his luck was really good for having discovered that great mystery. So Lai's current potential was 94, and he was sure it would soon increase to 100. After completing this step, He and Lee continued to hunt again. Jin Sung dedicated so much effort to Kalon that he thought if he had tried this hard in his studies, he would have become a lawyer or a doctor by now. But for now, he was still feeling very satisfied. After logging out of the game, Jin Sung browsed the forums while eating breakfast. This time, he discovered a video that had just been uploaded about the Shadow Mage class. While watching the video, Jin Sung received a phone call from an unknown number. This made him a bit confused because normally besides Yu Hyun in the service center, no one ever called him. Jin Sung answered the phone. The person on the other side introduced herself as Lee Ji Hyun, a teaching assistant in the virtual reality department of Korea University. "Do you know Professor Lee Jin-guk?" Lee Ji Hyun asked. "Of course I do. He's the head of the department," Jin Sung replied. "The professor wants you to contact him," the person on the other end added, which greatly surprised Jin Sung, who immediately asked, "Contact him. Can you please tell me why?" "I think it is because of your grades," Lee Ji Hyun replied, and this answer plunged Jin Sung completely into despair. "Don't tell me you're on academic probation already." Night fell at Jin Sung's house as he continued his conversation with the instructor. "Ma'am, what will happen if I do not call the professor?" The instructor's voice came over the phone. "He said he will send your grades via email and of course not to your personal email address." Hearing this, Jin Sung's face filled with absolute panic. He thought to himself that if his dad saw his grades, he could already imagine his father nagging him. "I am very disappointed in you, son." Jin Sung was terrified, worried he might be caught, and forced to return while enjoying his youth. He put his hands over his face and said, "I will call him." The instructor on the phone chuckled in approval. "Good idea. See you next semester then." With a look of resignation, Jin Sung sat down on a chair, raised his phone, and said I should call him. "Now where is his number?" Jin Sung made the call. A voice on the other end said, "Hello, this is Lee Jin-guk." Jin Sung replied politely, "Hello, Professor. I am Park Jin Sung. I heard you were looking for me." Hearing this, Lee Jin-guk realized who it was and said, "Park Jin Sung, right, the new student." Jin Sung replied fearfully, "Yes." "What did you need, sir?" The professor asked back, "You really do not know." Jin Sung replied in a low, trembling voice, "Is it because of my grades?" Jin-guk replied from the other end, "That is right. Is everything all right? How come you have not participated in any department activities? How did you end up on academic probation in your very first semester?" The scene shifts to Lee Jin-guk's office, where Jin Sung's voice is heard from the phone. "Is not academic probation for getting 3 Fs. I only have 2. Sitting in front of his computer, he said precisely, "And I am considering giving you your 3rd F." Jin Sung was shocked and confused, cursing to himself. "He is threatening me. What the hell does he want from me?" Despite his anger, he asked softly, "What do I have to do?" Professor Jin-guk replied, "First tell me why you have not been participating in department activities." Jin Sung thought, "I cannot tell him it is because I was busy playing games." "What should I say? I've got it." An idea suddenly struck him and he said, "Professor, as you know, the reason I chose virtual reality as my major is because I admire its infinite potential." The professor asked, and Jin Sung continued. "One of the reasons virtual reality is the center of global attention is because of the game Kalon, right?" He pictured a character from the game. "Right. So I figured I had to dive right in by playing this game." Jin-guk asked doubtfully, "Are you saying you skipped class because you were busy playing a game all day?" Jin Sung quickly retorted, "It is not just for playing, Professor." The professor rested his hand on his temple in thought. "You want to learn about the wonders of the virtual world in Kalon. In that case, what level are you?" Hearing this, he was stunned into silence, surprised by the question. "Excuse me," he said. Jin Sung, still bewildered, continued, "You are asking for my level. If you play that much, you must at least be in the top rankings in Korea, right?" He cursed inwardly. "Damn it, if only I had not reset." Jin Sung hesitated, then said, Well, it is like this, Professor." "What is it?" the professor asked. Recalling the image of his level 20 character, he said resentfully, "Level 20. I was originally level 93, but I recently reset my character, so now I am level 20. Jin-guk on the other end sounded unconvinced and chuckled. "How ridiculous," Jin Sung insisted. "But it is the truth, Professor." The professor retorted, "Do you take me for a fool? Do you think I do not know you are just saying that to get out of trouble?" He agreed in his head, "It is true I am trying to avoid trouble, but..." Jin Sung then quickly and confidently replied, "Then would you like to make a bet with me?" Confused, Jin-guk said, "A bet?" Jin Sung replied, "Yes, a bet on whether or not I am telling the truth." Hearing this, he said, "Go on." After letting Jin Sung explain, Jin-guk asked, "So you are going to try to reach level 93 before the new semester begins?" Jin Sung agreed yes, and proceeded to explain. If I can level up from 20 to 93 before the semester starts, would not that prove I was level 93 to begin with? Hearing this, Jin-guk agreed with his idea. Yes, that certainly makes sense. Personally, I'm quite interested in Callan myself, if you succeed. I will not put you on academic probation, but if you fail, not only will you be put on academic probation, but your parents will also receive your grades for this semester and the next. Yes, hearing this, Jin Sung's face lit up with joy. All right, deal, the professor continued, and you must participate in our department activities. Jin Sung quickly agreed. Yes, Jin-guk then added, oh, right. But if you win the bet, I will give you an A+ in all of my classes, whether you attend them or not. But in his mind, he was thinking, there is no way he can do it. Feeling like he had struck gold, Jin Sung's two eyes lit up as he said, you promise to keep your word right. On the other end, Jin-guk also gave his word. Yes, I promise. Feeling victory in his grasp, Jin Sung raised a triumphant fist, newly motivated, and said, thank you, Professor. I will do my absolute best, he celebrated silently. This is awesome. Without wasting a moment, Jin Sung immediately logged back into Callan to grind. He and Lee stood side by side, radiating a brilliant power. Jin Sung turned to Lai and patted its head, reminding it, we are going to have to work even harder. It growled in agreement. Jin Sung looked up and said, anyway, the original plan was to get back to my old level. Before the vacation ends. And I have avoided academic probation for the first semester, so this is great. I will get an A+ without even going to class. I can definitely do this. He looked at the 3 buildings, scratching the back of his neck in slight hesitation. All right, first up is... Jin Sung went inside and stood before a stout man at the counter saying, I am here to join a guild. The man asked, I assume you have reached level 20. Which guild do you want to join? Jin Sung quickly answered the Lotus Guild. The man looked doubtful and said the Lotus Guild prioritizes players at level 60 or higher, although I can submit the application for you. I do not think you will be accepted. Do you still want to proceed? Yes, he agreed. Jin Sung looked down, thinking to himself, I am best friends with the guild master and close to the core members, so it will be fine. The man then said, I have sent the request. You will be automatically registered once the guild master accepts. As a screen popped up, Jin Sung stroked his chin and hesitated. All right. Should I send a private message to Jojun? To get his approval, he looked at the screen and said he is offline. Oh well. I am not in a hurry anyway. He will accept it eventually. Jin Sung thought next is the auction house. He arrived there immediately. Jin Sung continued thinking, I am going to change all my gear. This is the privilege of a rich new player. I will switch to the best equipment that suits my current stats. Jin Sung folded his arms, looking at the displayed weapons and gear, and said to himself, the summoner class's bonus stat points do not go into melee combat. Instead, they go to summoning-related stats like taming. I will have to rely more on my summons later. He looked up at other displayed items and continued his thought. I wonder if there is anything that can increase my summoning stats. For example, something with a buff enchantment? Suddenly, Jin Sung jolted, startled by something he saw. The item information window displayed Headband of Mother Nature. Durability, 224 out of 224, defense, 24. Option stamina, plus 25%. Type head accessory, grade heroic. Required level 25. Special ability summoned beast's stamina increases by 20%, and their attack power by 15%. Summoned beast's evasion chance increases by 15%. He looked at it and happily decided, awesome, I am buying this. A notification then appeared. You have purchased the Headband of Mother Nature for 150,000 gold. Immediately, the headband appeared in front of him. Jin Sung said, an item for the summoner class. They are finally being sold. Wait, maybe other items labeled Mother Nature are also for summoners. He executed a search for Mother Nature. Jin Sung was surprised. Oh, there is more. The screen displayed another item's information. Staff of Mother Nature, attack power 150 to 165, durability 201 out of 201, option intelligence plus 21. Leadership plus 35, type weapon, grade heroic, required level 20, strength 40, charisma plus 20, special ability summoned beast's attack power increases by 35%. Summoned beast's critical hit chance increases by 15%. He put a hand to his chin and hesitated. This is a dilemma. I use a bow but a staff, huh? In the end, Jin Sung still decided I will buy it. I cannot use a bow forever. He touched the staff on the screen. The two items, the bow and the staff, appeared. He reasoned it is a bit early, but starting to get used to a different combat style. It is not a bad idea. Jin Sung picked up the staff, remarking, holding a staff feels a little strange. He commanded Summon Lee, and it appeared with a roar. Jin Sung placed a hand on Lai's back and spoke. Intermediate training is still active even in town, so I need to turn it off as soon as the cooldown ends. They both looked up, their eyes filled with determination. All right, it is time to find some quests. In a city, ancient buildings appeared in the golden sunlight, creating an incredibly dreamy scene. A voice spoke up, "Look, that's the 1 millionth summoner Jin Sung walking down the street." Everyone's eyes were on Jin Sung, remarking that his summoned beast is a wolf, probably a pretty low level. A person standing by the road said, "I heard leveling up as a summoner is a pain. I've never seen a summoner above level 15. He thought I'll just do the Goblin Camp quest. I can get double experience for completing the Goblin Camp quest." Jin Sung thought further. "I'll take all the experience for myself." From a distance, LaPierre was standing there. He then said, "Found him the quest." NPC Jin Sung approached and raised his hand to greet LaPierre. Long time no see. Seeing him like that, he thought this NPC would forget me, even if I reset, wouldn't he? LaPierre immediately recognized him and said, "Well, look who it is. Isn't that Ian?" Jin Sung asked, "How have you been?" He was happy and thought to himself, it seems like friendship with NPCs doesn't get reset. What a relief. Before he could answer, Jin Sung quickly asked again, "Commander, have the goblins been causing any trouble lately?" LaPierre replied with a troubled look, "I'm struggling with the new goblin camp set up nearby. The subjugation unit doesn't have enough soldiers. Could you recommend some skilled mercenaries to me?" He bowed slightly and said in a low voice, "I intend to help you myself." He was a bit embarrassed, bowing and rubbing the back of his neck as he replied, That's great, but I wish there were more people." A notification screen appeared in front of Jin Sung. On the notification board, the commander of the volunteer soldiers in Lukin Village, LaPierre, is calling for people to take on the Goblin Camp subjugation quest, join the soldiers, and raid the Goblin Camp. Difficulty E quest requirement: a party of 2 or more gold reward based on contribution to the raid. Killing goblins during the quest will grant double experience points. Will you accept the quest, yes or no? After reading it, he thought to himself, I remembered correctly, but then he realized and cursed inwardly, that's right. This quest is a party quest. Damn it, who can I bring with me? I don't think there are any newbies around level 40 in the guild. Jin Sung turned to ask LaPierre, Commander, can you postpone the subjugation for a little while until I can form a party? He pointed upwards and replied, of course. I can at least do that. Then before that, could you clear out a few goblin scouts outside the camp? A notification screen appeared. Eliminate the goblin scouts in Summer Valley, commander of the volunteer soldiers in Lucan Village. LaPierre is calling for mercenaries to eliminate some goblin scouts before the soldiers take action. Kill at least 10 goblin scouts and return safely. Difficulty E reward, volunteer soldiers, leather armor. Will you accept the quest, yes or no? Jin Sung turned his head back and said, I'll do it. LaPierre was delighted. Great, thank you. I trust you. Jin Sung thought regretfully, a round trip will take almost 30 minutes. How annoying, but I have no other choice. He crossed his arms, staring at the screen, and said thoughtfully, Let's see, are Jihun and Harris online? There they are. On the screen was a conversation between Ian and Harris. Ian asked Jihun, can you accept my guild application? Harris replied, the guild application, you're level 20 already. Ian immediately answered, yeah, just now. Harris messaged back in surprise, that's amazing, I've accepted it. Ian said thanks. Harris surprisingly messaged, hey, how did you get to level 20 so fast? Even warlocks don't level up that quickly. Ian messaged back, you know me, I'll catch up to you soon. Play a lot, my friend. Harris continued, for sure, level up quickly. Without you, I'm struggling with a lot of things. Jin Sung was still staring intently at the screen. Ian continued, hey, do you know anyone around level 40 in our guild? Harris asked curiously, level 40, why's that? Ian replied, of course. It's nothing, I'll handle it myself then. He observed and thought about the guild chat. It's better to ask a guild member for a recommendation first instead of partying up with a stranger. At this moment, the screen showed again. Ian has joined the guild. Ian said, I'm back. How's everyone doing? Biolen was surprised. Ian, you're level 20 already. Global felt the same and asked, what Ian, you reached level 20 and joined the guild. I heard leveling up as a summoner is a real pain. Was that all a lie? Ian replied, it's just level 20. What's the big deal? You guys should be worried. I'll be back to my old level soon enough. Biolan urged, please, level up quickly. Without you, the grind is so slow. Kwang laughed with delight. Oh, it's Ian. Ian continued, but hey, everyone, do you know any players around level 40? Then introduce me, okay? His face showed a bit of worry. Harris said, 40. Why are you looking for a level 40? Jin Sung stroked his chin and thought to himself, they'd be surprised if I told them I'm planning to take the quest. The Goblin quest at level 20 on the screen, the conversation continued. Ian said, I'm planning to take the Goblin Camp subjugation quest and I need one more person. Someone who can contribute. Ian didn't let anyone reply and quickly corrected himself. No, it's fine, even if they can't contribute. They just need to enter the camp with me. I'll carry them. Biolan asked Ian, aren't you level 20? How can you do the camp quest at level 20, let alone carry the team? Juan also wondered, Carry, what aren't you the one who needs a carry for the camp quest? I thought he got to level 20 by getting carried. Global gritted his teeth and scolded, you idiot. Do you think someone with his personality would ask for a carry? If he wanted someone to carry him, he would have asked us. Why would he need to find a level 40? Juan asked again. What do you mean? Past level 60, you can't do the camp quest anymore. We can't help him. Global agreed. That's right, isn't it? Ian continued. I'm level 20, but luckily I got a 1 millionth summoned beast so I can still handle the camp quest. It will carry me. Global was surprised. Why are you always so lucky? Biolan was a bit suspicious. There must be a reason why you leveled up to 20 so quickly. Juan said, Ian, I have a friend who's level 45, but Ian was surprised. Oh, really? Can you introduce her to me? Juan hesitated a bit, but she created her character as a crafting class, so her melee ability is probably... Ian waved his hand. It's okay. What's her class? Juan introduced. Her melee class is Priest, and her crafting class is Cook. I think Ian asked again. A Cook. Juan immediately replied, yeah, she's a Priest. But she probably can't help much in melee combat. She's not very good at the game either. Is that okay? Ian reassured. It's fine. Can you connect us when she's online? Juan still hesitated and asked again. Okay. Are you sure it's okay? Jin Sung thought, as long as she fulfills the party member requirement, I don't care about her abilities. Ian smiled lightly. Yeah, it's fine. Ian messaged, I have to do a few things, so I'm leaving the chat room. When you get in touch with her, send me a message. Juan happily agreed. Okay. He thought to himself, talking with guild members is fun, but it's nothing compared to the excitement of hunting and leveling up on the battlefield. Jin Sung clenched his fist and thought decisively, I'll finish the quest quickly before I hear back. Scene changed to a cliff with a steep stream and lush green trees refreshing the whole space. Jin Sung stood behind a tree, observing the panthers sitting around the edge of the stream ahead. That's the Bone Kun monster. He looked at Lee and speculated it would be so cool if I could catch a Bone Kun. Lee doesn't look very cool or strong. Its paw stepped lightly on the ground. Jin Sung saw Lai starting to turn back and was confused. He wondered suspiciously, my thoughts aren't being transferred to it. Are they? Jin Sung turned and said awkwardly, Hey Lee, do you know how much I love you? It showed no reaction, just closed its eyes, he thought curiously. Is it really angry? Suddenly it crouched down, radiating a powerful force. Jin Sung was astonished and called out, Lai. He stared wide-eyed and said, What is this? Lai's face was now fierce, its eyes glowing brightly, power radiating around it. It was evolving. Jin Sung broke into a delighted smile and laughed. Finally, you're finally evolving. Then he suddenly wondered to himself, but what triggered the evolution? What's the requirement? Jin Sung was secretly thrilled. Its potential has reached 100. Its appearance will change when it evolves, right? He looked towards Lee with anticipation, hoping it would get bigger so he could ride it. At that moment, an explosion erupted. Light enveloped the space the wolf had now evolved. Its mane had changed to a reddish-orange color. It was stretching its neck and baring its teeth majestically. Jin Sung's face showed pure, delighted excitement. A notification board appeared. The wolf Lai has evolved into a red mane wolf. The screen continued to display due to the successful evolution of a summoned beast. Proficiency for the intermediate taming skill has increased. The intermediate taming skill has leveled up to level 2, 45.7% remaining until the next level. You are the first person to successfully evolve a summoned beast. Fame increased by 1,000, charisma and leadership increased by 30. You are the first person to summon a red mane wolf. Fame increased by 1,500. The wolf after evolving into its new form. It was bowing, lowering its head before Jin Sung. He raised both hands high, his laughter echoing. Jin Sung patted its head with delight, its face clearly showing enjoyment. He laughed and said, Lai, I love you so much. The screen displayed another notification. Lai level 20 HP, 790 out of 790 combat power, 235 defense, 97 dexterity, 215 type beast rarity, rare nature brave, can evolve potential, 135. Inherited ability restores health by 15% of damage taken, and when dealing a critical hit, it heals for 50% of the damage and causes the enemy to bleed. Enemies afflicted with the bleed status take an additional 20% damage per second for 10 seconds. Jin Sung read the description, a fierce wolf with a mysterious red mane, ferocious and violent in nature. The rarity has changed from common to rare, and he was momentarily surprised, thinking it can still evolve. Jin Sung wondered further, if it evolves again, will it become a unique rarity? He covered his mouth with a trembling hand, smiling shyly to himself. Thinking the summoner class is too overpowered, Jin Sung turned to Lai and said, Forget about those skeletons. I don't need them even if I had a truckload of skeletons. My Lai is the best, right? Right, he asked it Lai. Do you think you can carry me on your back when we travel? Understanding, Lai lowered its body and sat on the ground. Jin Sung got the hint and climbed onto its back. Lai then stood up ready to go. He looked down and urged it on, giddy up. Let's run, Lai. One man and one beast flew like the wind through the forest. Jin Sung felt incredibly thrilled as they passed countless paths and thickets at a dizzying speed. Night had now fallen in Summer Valley after a long, tiring day. He said, "This is so relaxing." Jin Sung looked over and remarked, "Kalen made these details so realistic." He climbed off Lai, stood beside it, and stroked its blood-red fur, saying, "The quest is to kill 10 goblin scouts, huh?" Jin Sung spread his hand, summoning his power, and urged it on with such a cool evolution I can't just let it stand by. Lai, let's go all out. Immediately, the screen displayed a notification. Blessing of the Wind activated dexterity increased by 37%. Summoned Beast Lai's dexterity has increased by 37%. Blessing of Violence activated. Combat power stat increased by 33%. Summoned Beast Lai's combat power stat has increased by 66% in front of him, and Lai green monsters now appeared. Jin Sung held his staff in his hand. Pointing forward, he said to Lai, "Do you see those 3 wandering goblins? Attack them first. I'll support you from behind." The goblin monsters were skinny, but had large bellies. They stuck out their bright red tongues, drooling and bearing 2 sharp fangs. He looked at them and thought to himself, with this buff, Lai won't be weaker than any of those goblins. Lai growled, pawing at the ground, ready to fight. Jin Sung thought Lai will be much stronger than those regular mobs in close combat, he thought with more conviction. And it also has 2 inherited passive abilities. Immediately, Lai dashed forward. Jin Sung thought cautiously, but we can't be too careless. Then a notification popped up. Weakness detection activated. Enemy's weak point detected accuracy increased by 14.5%. Critical hit chance increased by 22%. Attacking the weak point adds 91% damage. It opened its mouth wide and roared, baring its ferocious, sharp teeth. The goblins heard the roar and turned around. The one in front said, "A wolf is attacking." The goblin with a top knot shrieked, "A wolf, a red wolf." The notification bar appeared again. Summoned Beast Lai deals critical damage to a goblin scout. The goblin scout loses 1,075 health points total. Health remaining 89%. Lai was now charging in, continuously biting and tearing at the goblins. They lost health as Lai bit them, and information about them appeared. Goblin scout is bleeding and losing 215 health points per second. Goblin Scout died from bleeding. The notification bar displayed, "You have killed a Goblin Scout. You received 1,210 experience points." Jin Sung couldn't believe it, thinking in amazement, what is this? How could a level 40 monster die in one hit? After the attack, Lai paused and looked up as if resting. The goblins seemed extremely enraged. They opened their mouths wide and roared, baring their crude, sharp teeth. Jin Sung was shocked and amazed when he saw this. Quick as a flash, they seized the opportunity when Lai's guard was down and rushed to attack it. Lai roared in pain from the ambush. The notification bar immediately appeared. Beast Lai was hit by a goblin scout and lost 294 health points after being attacked. The wolf Lai quickly turned to the goblins with an angry face. Lai leaped and unleashed powerful swipes, attacking them. A notification appeared. Summoned Beast Lai deals 495 damage to a goblin scout, 15% of damage, 75 health points restored. Jin Sung clenched his fist in delight and praised, "That's more like it." The notification appeared again with each of Lai's attacks. 15% of damage, 73 health points restored. 15% of damage, 76 health points restored because of this recovery. Lai regained its strength and launched powerful direct attacks on the goblins, taking them down one by one. The remaining goblin's face was filled with terror, cold sweat dripping continuously. Radiating killing intent, Lai stared at it with a ferocious gaze, its anger unspent. The notification bar displayed 50% of damage, 523 health points restored. It moved like a phantom and finished off the last goblin. Jin Sung was in disbelief and said, "Lai Yu," it bowed its head before him. Jin Sung patted its head encouragingly and said, "Thanks for the carry, my friend." Then he moved in and hugged Lai lovingly. Both turned to look. Jin Sung raised his staff and said, "All right, let's do it again, Lai." At that moment, in front of Jin Sung and Lai, more goblins appeared while he casually lay under a tree reading something. He was leisurely humming a random tune. Meanwhile, Lai was easily taking care of the monsters. A notification screen popped up with a message from Ayu Hyun. "Are you online? Can we talk now?" Jin Sung waved his hand, calling his beast back. "Lai, that's enough. Come back here, the conversation started." Jin Sung messaged, "Sure, what's up?" Ayu Hyun replied, "You've probably guessed my friend has contacted you." "She's online," Jin Sung was surprised. Oh, so what did she say? Did she manage to do it? Ah Yu-hyun laughed. Yeah, she did. He replied, yeah. Ah Yu-hyun continued, her name is Harin, you should say hello first. Jin Sung agreed. Okay. Ah Yu-hyun, still worried, asked again, but are you sure it's okay? You should be prepared for her close combat abilities or else. Jin Sung laughed softly and said he doesn't get me at all. Jin Sung reassured him, hey, don't worry, I was just soloing in Summer Valley, I'm coming out now. Ah Yu-hyun asked, Summer Valley, where is that? Isn't that the goblin camp? You cleared it out by yourself. Jin Sung replied, yeah, that's right. I was hunting goblin scouts at the Vanguard camp, I just got my S-Rank, you know. Ah Yu-hyun asked in amazement, how did you do that? Did you cheat or use a bug? Be careful or you might get banned and then you'll be crying boo-hoo. Jin Sung denied it. It's not a bug, don't worry. Ah Yu-hyun was relieved. Okay, if you say so, then it's fine. Jin Sung agreed. Yeah, Ah Yu-hyun chuckled. You'll really catch up to us soon. He confidently thought to himself, I'll reach level 100 in 2 months. Jin Sung messaged back, just wait 2 months. He stood there thinking, I'll reach level 50 in 15 days, and level 80 in the next 15 days, and level 100 in the remaining month. I will win this bet at all costs. Jin Sung looked at the display screen and mused, actually, the bet with the professor might be more to my advantage. Ah Yu-hyun's friend's name is Harin, Jin Sung messaged. Hello, are you Ah Yu-hyun's friend? Harin replied, hello, yes, it's nice to meet you. Jin Sung continued, where are you? Harin answered, Lucan Village, I'm repairing my gear at the blacksmith. Jin Sung smiled lightly, you're in Lucan, just stay at the blacksmith, okay? I'll be there in 10 minutes. Harin agreed, okay. The scene changes to a small town. Jin Sung arrived and asked, is the blacksmith this way? He looked around and his eyes suddenly lit up. A girl leaning against a nearby wall was Harin. Jin Sung spoke first. Hello, I'm Ian. She turned, smiled softly, and replied, hello, I'm Harin. I've heard a lot about you from Ah Yu-hyun. He asked again, you're Ah Yu-hyun's friend? Harin replied, no, not a friend. I'm more like an older sister to her, she continued. I'm ready. So we can start the quest whenever you're ready. How about you? Ian. Jin Sung replied. Great, I'm ready too. Is there any special reason you're doing this camp quest? Harin nodded. Yes, there's a quest I want to do, but I can only get it after finishing this camp quest. It's a quest from Duke Chepin's chef, but to enter the Duke's castle, I have to complete this quest first. He asked with a confused look. A chef? What kind of quest would you get from a chef? She placed a hand on her chest and said proudly, my production class is Chef. Jin Sung continued. I heard from Ah Yu-hyun that your production class was a chef. Harin turned and replied, that's right, I majored in culinary arts in the real world too. After hearing this, he remarked, I heard production classes are very hard to manage. But if you specialize in cooking, it must be a bit easier, she replied cheerfully. Exactly, I really enjoy it too. Jin Sung thought with a hint of surprise in Kalen talent. From the real world often influences production classes, the two of them started to walk. He turned and said with an appreciative tone, you're the first chef I've ever met. Jin Sung boldly asked, when I get the chance, could I taste some of your cooking? Hearing this, Harin looked clearly delighted and agreed, saying, of course. After walking and chatting for a while, the two of them reached Lapierre. He looked at them in surprise and asked, so you found a new member? Lapierre held up 2 fingers and continued, I thought 2 people would be a bit difficult, but I know your capabilities, Ian, so I'm entrusting this to you. He urged the Vanguard unit has just left. If you hurry, you should be able to catch up, go follow and assist them. A notification window appeared. Conquer the Goblin Camp in Summer Valley. Commander Lapierre of the Lucan Village Volunteer Soldiers is calling for helpers for the Goblin Camp Conquest mission. Join the Vanguard and raid the Goblin Camp difficulty E-Quest requirement. A party of 2 or more gold reward based on contribution to the raid and killing goblins. During the quest, experience points will be doubled. Will you accept this quest, yes or no? Jin Sung finished reading, sighed in relief, and thought the quest changed a little because we arrived late. But the reward is still the same. What a relief. He kept looking at the screen and asked Harin, did you get the quest yet? She turned and said, yes, I've looked it over. Jin Sung then raised a hand and called, so shall we go? A wolf immediately appeared. Harin was startled and jumped back. He quickly reassured her, it's okay, it's my summon, not a monster. Harin, still surprised, replied. A summon? Jin Sung, hearing her say that, asked back, yeah, is something wrong? Harin said, full of admiration, if you can summon beasts, then you're a summoner. But that class was just released a few days ago. How are you already doing this Goblin Camp quest? He turned back and gave a wry smile, replying, it was just luck, this wolf is really overpowered. I leveled up quickly and can deal with goblins easily. After speaking, Jin Sung thought to himself, what a terrible excuse. But if I tell her I'm level 25, she won't want to party with me. Seeing this, Harin rested her chin on her hand, her face full of appreciation and a bit of envy, and said, I get it, that's so enviable. I'm already level 45, but I still run if I encounter even one goblin scout. Hearing this, he pondered what this girl actually believed what I said. How could she believe me? Jin Sung gave a light laugh and said, haha, you mainly focus on crafting cooking as a useful skill. But the game hasn't developed its full potential to utilize it yet. Then he wondered again, even if she focused on crafting, how did she get to level 45? While not being able to defeat a single goblin scout, she raised her hand and said, thank you. I still prefer cooking to hunting, so I'm fine with it. This wolf is so cool. I've never seen this type of wolf before. Jin Sung pointed a finger and replied with delight, probably because it's the only one in the entire server. Heron scratched her head and asked curiously, does it have a name? He nodded, yes, you can call him Lai. Then she looked at Lai, brought her hands together and bowed his name. Is so cute, hello. Lai Haran immediately rolled up her sleeves, turned around and asked, can I feed him? Jin Sung replied, sure, he likes any kind of meat. A moment later, she brought out a plate with a piece of beef, some asparagus, and potatoes. He looked at the plate of meat and drooled, thinking, what's this? A steak covered in sauce. It looks so delicious, I want some too. Lai immediately chomped down on the piece of meat, and a notification popped up, your summon Lai has eaten a smoked steak, health points increased by 200 for 20 minutes. Seeing this, Jin Sung was slightly astonished and asked what happened, Ian. He looked down at the notification on the screen and exclaimed, Lai's stats just increased. Is this an effect from your food? Haran then explained, my skill has improved, so it also depends on the grade of the food, but it will buff the one who eats it for a certain period of time. Jin Sung covered his mouth and chuckled to himself. Lai's 1,400 health is a bit low, so an extra 200 is a massive buff from now on. Maintaining a friendly relationship with Heron will be very beneficial. And by now, Lai had finished eating his face, looking extremely satisfied. Seeing this, he got angry and scolded, was it fun eating all by yourself? Then he turned to her, scratching his head, and asked, do you have anything for me? Hareen immediately replied, not right now. She held up the empty plate and swore, I'll cook something even more delicious after the quest, so don't be jealous. Jin Sung immediately squatted on the ground and drew circles with his finger. Hearing that, he jumped up resentfully and insisted, you promise. At this moment in Summer Valley, a blonde-haired man stood with his arms crossed. He was the captain of the subjugation squad. Hugo, a guard, was kneeling before him and reporting, Captain, the new mercenaries have arrived. Hugo looked at Jin Sung and Haran, then said appreciatively, you are the new mercenaries. Each of you will be a great help for this mission. He continued, thank you for coming all this way. He replied confidently, I'm just doing my duty. Sir, then he thought to himself, I'm glad we weren't late. Jin Sung bowed his head and quietly looked at the people around him. He wondered to himself, are those other people players? Are they having a bad day? They don't look very comfortable. Then Jin Sung looked up and thought, well, it's none of my business anyway. We'll be fighting different battles. Just then, a horde of monsters appeared in the distance, swarming towards them. Each one looking terrifying. They roared, signaling their readiness to fight. Hugo decisively pointed at the goblins and said in a stern voice, today we will annihilate all the goblins in Summer Valley. Soldiers advance. And so the two sides charged. The battle between humans and monsters erupted. Seeing this for the first time, Haran was a bit worried and asked Ian, hey, are we going to be okay? Jin Sung knew this would happen and turned to reassure her. Don't worry, just do as we discussed on the way here. She was still a little scared. Is that really all right? If we do that, you'll be the only one on the front line. He looked over, laughed, and said, it's not like that. You'll be supporting me with buffs, and just your shield alone will be a huge help. Then Jin Sung thought to himself, Haran's easily panicked personality makes her very proficient at creating shields. He continued thinking, the plan is simple. Haran will protect herself with her shield. Every time her cooldown is up, she will buff me. And Lai Haran's level is also higher than the goblins in the camp. Jin Sung's eyes lit up as he confirmed his thoughts. Plus, with her brilliant shield skill. She's around level 60, so it'll be hard for Haran to die here. I'll use Haran as a tank, he thought further, looking at her, calculating with a finger on her lips. If Haran blocks the attacks up front, Lai and I will get the experience points since I brought her here. I'll make the most of her strength and bring out the highest efficiency for both of us. Jin Sung silently concluded, basically, she'll be a meat shield after a moment of thought. Haran clasped her hands together and looked at him with full trust. Okay, I'll trust you. Jin Sung continued to think if the plan fails or if she's worse than I thought, she might die. He then replied to her, you can trust it instead of me. Jin Sung thought decisively, as long as Haran doesn't die, she'll be able to receive a huge amount of experience. Then he turned away and let out a breath. I'm absolutely not giving her a hard time just because she gave Lai good food instead of me. Suddenly a goblin charged towards the two of them. Just as Jin Sung thought, Haran very quickly created a protective barrier to block it. Seeing this, he asked Haran, how much mana do you have left on her side? The goblins were relentlessly attacking the barrier. Hearing Jin Sung's question, Haran replied, I think I can last for another 10 minutes, don't worry. He looked at her in amazement. She's better than I thought she is over level 40 after all, so was I just overthinking things? It seems Harin is having no trouble on the other side. Lai was overwhelming every goblin he fought, Jin Sung thought to himself. These goblins are much stronger than the goblin scouts. But it seems Lai is still dominating them. The display continuously notified you have killed a goblin warrior, received 910 experience points, you have killed a goblin warrior. Received 910 experience points, he thought to himself. I'm sharing experience with Harin and Lai, but this is still a huge amount. Suddenly, a notification appeared in front of Jin Sung. Level up, you have now reached level 26. Level up, you have now reached level 27. He looked at it and celebrated silently. That's more like it. Still in Summer Valley, a young man with orange hair approached. It was Ruki. He looked at Jin Sung fighting the monsters and asked curiously, "What's with this guy?" Ruki's lips curled into a disdainful sneer as he thought he looks like a summoner, but is his level high enough to be here? He raised a hand to his head and called out to the two people behind him, "Falcon Mulan, come here." The orange-haired girl was Mulan. The guy next to her was Falcon. He approached and asked, "What's up?" Ruki pointed at the chaotic battle, turned his head back and asked, "What do you two think of this scene?" Both of them answered in unison, "So what?" Mulan winked one eye and said, "He's a summoner." Falcon immediately denied it, replying, "That's not the issue if a summoner is hunting here. He has to be at least level 40, but his close combat skills suggest he's over level 60. He raised a finger and wagged it. How could he be level 40 when the summoner class was just released? The highest level ones are only around level 20. Mulan also agreed, "You're right," seeing that he continued, "Yeah, that's right. I saw on the forums that the best summoners on there are only level 17 or 18 at most." Then looking at the wolf, Ruki asked, "So what species is that summoner's wolf?" Falcon stroked his chin and speculated, could it be an artifact enchanted with a summoning spell? Without Rukin snapping his fingers, just as I thought, he continued, looking at how they fight. That cleric has no idea what she's doing, and the other guy is nothing without his wolf. She's fighting in close combat with a staff and doesn't seem to have any dangerous spells. Milan, hearing this, asked in surprise, "You mean we should PK them?" Falcon reminded her to lower her voice. Milan lowered her voice, "All right. Sorry," she continued to ask, "but isn't this decision a bit too hasty? If we don't get any good equipment, it won't make up for the losses. The penalty for PK is pretty harsh, and it's not easy to get rid of the murderer tag, you know." Rukin clenched his fist, calculating, and said, "Hey, think about it carefully. If we sell a summoner's artifact, we'll get at least 20 million gold. Even if we split it 3 ways, we'll each get 6 or 7 million." Phoenix exclaimed, 20 million gold. "If we exchange that for real money, it would be 40 million won." He affirmed and continued, "Exactly. If we do this now, we won't have to worry about equipment until at least level 82. Do you two want to pass up this opportunity?" Rukin raised a finger arrogantly and said, "And I have a great plan. Now listen." Meanwhile, Harin and Lai were going all out attacking the goblins. Jin Sung opened his screen and speculated, "I'll probably reach level 30 soon. I heard that once you reach level 30, you get 2 special class skills. I wonder what skills I'll get." He reached out and tapped the screen. He calculated and continued. The forums say that special class spells are 100% random, but that's actually wrong. When I reach level 30, I'll get a consecutive skill. Related to my most mastered skill, the screen showed connected slots. Jin Sung confirmed, or at least a related skill, and only then will I get a random one. It's not that both of them are random. He hesitated, wondering to himself, the skill I'm most proficient in right now is this one. The notification window displayed intermediate training skill type, active skill level 3. Mastery 79% cooldown, 25 minutes, select 1 million summoned beasts to apply the status. Training duration 15 minutes. Summoned beasts under the training status will understand their master's commands better. The potential of the summoned beasts will increase with continuous training. Potential increases according to the level of the intermediate training skill. Jin Sung wondered, intermediate training is basically a potential boosting skill, so I'll get a skill related to potential boosting, right? Suddenly, a goblin from below rushed to strike him, but he quickly pivoted his feet in another direction. Then, without looking, he turned and smashed its head with his staff. He continued to think, the remaining skill will be random, but I hope I get one related to capturing. Suddenly, Harin, from within her protective barrier, called out in a panic, "Ian, I only have 5% mana left." Hearing this, Jin Sung waved his hand and shouted, "Lai, go help Harin, and Harin, you should fall back a bit." Like a gust of wind, Lai rushed over continuously, unleashing a flurry of attacks. It defeated all the monsters attacking Harin. The screen continuously displayed summoned beast. Lai has dealt a critical hit to the Goblin Scout. Goblin Warrior's health has decreased by 1,675, 94% of total health. You have killed a goblin warrior, received 921 experience points. Harren then reached out to pat Lai's head gratefully, saying thanks. Lai Jin-sung trembled with jealousy, thinking to himself that Mutt is so friendly with Harren, it's not even that friendly with me, frustrated. He turned his head away, ignoring them and swallowing his tears. I'll just finish this quest first. Lai was extremely confused by this. The battle continued to rage, creating earth-shaking attacks in the goblin village. An old goblin leaning on a staff stepped out. He was the goblin chieftain. The humans have come this far. The old goblin snarled, "Kill them all." He raised his staff, and a powerful force erupted, creating a devastating and shocking explosion. Everyone fighting was thrown back, shouting, "Help me." Someone screamed, "My armor's on fire." Seeing this, Hugo realized is that the leader he shouted an order. All soldiers advance, the battle will end if we kill him. At that moment, Jin-sung's notification window appeared. Allies' morale increased by 30%. The guards ran forward, screaming. The notification screen appeared again. All stats increased by 10% for 20 minutes. He commanded, "Go Lai, attack him now." Lai used its full strength to quickly fight the goblins. The old chieftain watched in astonishment. What Lai's fierce face was gathering momentum to charge forward. He saw it was about to attack him. The old goblin roared, "You're just a hide tamed by humans." But without another word, Lai attacked. Swiping at the goblin chieftain, the notification screen flashed continuously. Summoned beast, Lai has dealt a critical hit to the goblin chieftain. That attack from Lai took the goblin chieftain by surprise, splattering blood everywhere. The display showed goblin chieftain's health has decreased by 1,215, 0.7% of total health. Goblin chieftain's health will decrease by 243 points per second for 10 seconds. Hugo raised his hand decisively and shouted the order, "Now focus your attacks on him." Immediately, powerful attacks were all directed at the old goblin. A world-shaking battle ensued. The goblin chieftain was annihilated, his body battered and his jaw hanging open. The notification window appeared. Goblin chieftain's health has decreased by 52,071, 30% of total health. He straightened his legs and screamed with hatred and resentment. He slammed his staff down, restoring the goblin chieftain's power. The information window announced again, "Goblin Chieftain has entered a berserk state." The Goblin Chieftain was now completely enraged, becoming more berserk than ever. He opened his mouth and spat out dazzling sparks of fire. Everyone watching was stunned. What's happening all of a sudden? Someone recognized it and shouted, "It's fire." They dodged in fear. Jin-sung also scrambled to flee. Suddenly, a brilliant light flashed in front of him, unable to react in time. Jin-sung was thrown backward by the explosion, his body slamming hard onto the ground. The flames had caught onto him now, burning his flesh. He gritted his teeth in agony. "This really hurts. I have to use an emergency potion." Suddenly, a blue light enveloped him. Jin-sung looked up in surprise. "What is this?" the notification window displayed. "Harren from your party has used healing light, restoring 1,020 health." Seeing this, he said, "Harren, healing light." Looking over, he saw Harren standing beside him. Jin-sung called out Harren. He looked at her with sincere eyes and said, "Thank you." She smiled at him as if giving him encouragement. His hand was quickly healed. Jin-sung turned to Lai and ordered, "All right, it's time to counterattack Lai." Instantly, the divine staff in his hand was recalled. Jin-sung said, "You need to draw the goblin chieftain's attention. Don't try to attack." After speaking, he summoned a bow and arrow into his hands. Hearing his command, Lai rushed forward without hesitation. Jin-sung raised the bow, the sharp, gleaming arrowhead aimed straight. He prepared to shoot, his eyes reflecting the bright flames, but filled with determination. He thought, "I need an opportunity." The goblin chieftain laughed barbarically and cursed, "Die, all of you, die." Seeing the situation, Jin-sung thought, the goblin chieftain is more ferocious now. If I make a mistake, we'll die. The chieftain continuously spewed flames, burning everyone. As he contemplated this, Lai charged in from out of nowhere, launching a swift attack that surprised the goblin and made it lose focus on Jin-sung's side. Now he raised his bow and fired. The arrow, wrapped in immense power, shot forward. Meanwhile, Lai was still charging. The chieftain stood stunned, watching it prepare to strike, when at that exact moment the arrow followed closely behind Lai. Instantly, it pierced straight through the goblin chieftain. A brilliant light flashed as the chieftain screamed in agony. The scream echoed through the area as the goblin's power was extinguished, completely burned out. The dazzling arrow, radiating incredible power, was embedded in the goblin chieftain, struck down. It lay dead and motionless on the ground. A blue light enveloped Jin-sung, who was overjoyed. "I did it!" Witnessing such a battle, everyone was dumbfounded. What Hugo's soldiers couldn't believe their eyes, asking one another, "It's dead, really?" The notification bar displayed, "Goblin chieftain has been slain." Quest Goblin Camp completed. Everyone was overjoyed, raising their hands and cheering. "We succeeded. Quest complete." Over on Jin-sung's side, the notification bar displayed, "You have slain the goblin chieftain." Received 6,740 experience points. You were the highest contributor in the Goblin Camp quest, received 124 reputation points. You have met the requirements for the Goblin Camp raid quest. He remained standing there, looking at the screen. It continued to announce, level up, you have reached level 30. Notifications appeared one after another. You have reached level 30, and unlocked special class skills bars appeared showing special skills unlocked. Skill share for summon beasts, unlocked spatial swap. Unlocked. Seeing this, Jin Sung was surprised, thinking a special skill, spatial swap. Hugo's voice suddenly came from somewhere. You're the one who killed the Goblin Chieftain. He extended his hand in gratitude. You did well. You're Ian, right? Jin Sung also extended his hand, saying, yes, Captain. The two shook hands. Hugo continued. We were able to raid the camp without suffering many losses thanks to you. I'm very grateful, Ian replied humbly. It was nothing. It was all thanks to the courage of the volunteers who led us to complete the quest. He turned to leave and added, get back safely. Hugo looked towards his men and praised well-done soldiers. He raised a clenched fist in a sign of victory and declared, we have completed the mission. Let's return to the village. Everyone below also raised their hands to celebrate the result. Jin Sung placed his hand on Lai's head, petting it, and sighing in relief it's finally over. He finally sat down to rest, relieved, and said, so I should check the remaining skill I got right. The screen showed the skill distribution for the summoned beast. Active skill type, skill level, 0 proficiency, 0% cooldown, 24 hours. Distribute a random skill to your summoned beast. Using this skill will consume 20 potential points. And once this skill is used on a summoned beast that already has a skill, the new skill will replace the previous one. The higher the skill proficiency, the higher the summoned beast's skill level. Jin Sung immediately figured it out. I knew it. I'd get a skill related to potential. He frowned and pondered. I can distribute skills to my summoned beast. I should give Lai a new skill too. First, I have to check at what Lai's potential rank is. Jin Sung turned to Lai and said, Lai's potential is still 6, or 100 potential points to evolve Lai a lot. Then he said decisively, if the potential points reach 20, I will try to distribute a skill to it. Jin Sung continued, I want to help it evolve after getting another 100 points. But in reality, distributing a skill to it first would be better. He looked at the image to see what the second skill was. A notification appeared, space swap active skill type, skill level 0 proficiency, 0% cooldown, 3 minutes. The summoner can swap positions. With one of the summoned beasts, the summoner must be safe for half to 1 second to activate the skill. Increasing the skill's proficiency will reduce the cooldown time. After reading, he said with some annoyance, I'm a little disappointed that I didn't unlock any attack or capture skills. But these skills are also quite useful in close combat. This skill is great. I'm very satisfied from behind. Heron waved and called out Ian, he heard, and turned around. She bowed her head and said, Heron, thank you, Ian. We were able to complete the quest. Thanks to you. Jin Sung waved his hand dismissively and replied, it was nothing, Heron. You did more work than one person could. Heron replied gratefully, but without you, we couldn't have completed it, thank you. He put his hand on Lai's head and petted it. Actually, it did more than I did. She also agreed, saying, yes, I was really surprised by Lai. Its close combat skills are amazing. Heron walked over and petted Lai, saying again, thank you for today, Lai. Jin Sung noticed figures approaching from behind. It was Rukin Mulan and Falcon. He thought to himself, what is this? Are they coming to introduce themselves? Rukin extended his hand to start a conversation, saying, nice to meet you, I'm Rukin. I didn't get a chance to introduce myself during the quest. Jin Sung also extended his hand to shake it, saying, hello, same here. Nice to meet you, I'm Ian, he asked. Hey, Ian, do you want to start another quest with us? Hearing that, he raised his hand to stroke his chin and said a quest. Rukin continued. We know of a hidden quest related to the camp quest. Hearing this, Jin Sung thought. If it's a related quest, it must be the Goblin High Priest quest. He continued thinking, I was planning to give up on that quest because of its difficulty, but now I've leveled up a lot after the camp quest. I was considering that quest anyway. Jin Sung observed the three of them again and continued to think, but these guys look like they're above level 50, so why would they invite us to do the High Priest quest with them? The level gap is too large for them to benefit from it, feigning ignorance. He acted surprised and asked, there's a related hidden quest. Jin Sung said that, but was wary in his mind. I have a bad feeling about this. Should I dig a little deeper? He immediately replied, that's right, there's a Goblin High Priest quest in the tunnel behind the camp. We just need to kill him to complete the quest. He's weaker than the Goblin Chief, but I think it's still a bit difficult for us. Rukin extended his hand and continued, I saw you in close combat, and it seems you have a very powerful summoner's artifact. So if you join us, we'll complete the quest quickly. Jin Sung's expression turned a bit ugly as he silently repeated artifact. He turned his head slightly and thought with a sarcastic smirk, well, look at this. They think I summoned Lai using a summoner's artifact. Jin Sung gave a cold smile and thought to himself, artifacts are very expensive. They must be planning to jump me and score big. I get it now. Then he agreed as if he knew nothing I understand. All right then. But in his mind, he was very interested. Great, then let's see what happens. Jin Sung hesitated for a moment, thinking, should I make an excuse? At that moment in Summer Valley, black smoke was still rising from the aftermath of the recent explosions. The chat window appeared. He messaged, "Hey, Harren." She replied, "Hey, Ian." Harren on the outside looked a little confused and messaged back, "Why are you sending a private message?" Jin Sung raised his hand to signal a pause. Wait a moment, he put on an interested expression and said, "I really like this offer, but I have to ask my partner first. Could you wait for me for a moment?" Rukin replied without hesitation, "Yes, of course." Jin Sung turned to Harren and asked her, "Harren, you heard Rukin's invitation, right? What do you think?" Harren raised her hand to scratch her head and answered hesitantly, "I think just then he sent a message. Harren, I think they're trying to PK us." She messaged back a little confused, "What PK us?" Jin Sung confirmed via message, "Yes, it seems like they plan to kill us during the High Priest quest." He thought to himself, to be precise, they'll be trying to kill me rather than us. Harren asked worriedly, "So what should we do?" Jin Sung instructed her, "Just say yes to my earlier question." She immediately agreed, "Oh, okay." Rukin stood watching the two of them discuss with each other. Harren said, "Sure. You guys are sharing a hidden quest with us, so there's no reason to refuse the invitation." Hearing this, he raised his hand and exclaimed, "Great," but in his mind Rukin laughed mockingly, "You fools." Jin Sung turned to look at Harren. She messaged, "So what's the plan?" He replied, "Don't worry, I already have a way." His eyes lit up, not from the reflection of the fire like before, but with a light of determination, will, and cunning. Jin Sung visualized the three of them, Rukin, Mulan, and Falcon. While thinking of a way to catch these fools all at once, over here on a high rock, a man was sitting leisurely. It was Lee Jin-gook. He stretched with satisfaction and said, "The air in Kailan is always so fresh." Jin-gook was amazed. "I can't believe this is virtual reality. The scientists who created this are amazing." He looked down at the surrounding scenery and affirmed, "I'll convince the members of the picnic club to hold our next gathering in Kailan." Jin-gook put his hand in his pocket and rummaged around for something. After a moment, he said, "Here it is." He pulled out a roll of kimbap. Jin-gook put it in his mouth, chewed greedily, and exclaimed, "It's not a picnic without delicious kimbap." While eating, Jin-gook seemed to remember something and stopped. "That's right, I almost forgot." Then he raised his hand to summon Goofy. Immediately, a circle appeared, and then a wolf appeared next to him. It was a brown wolf, and it let out a loud howl. "It does that every time I summon it." Jin-gook pulled a large chicken leg from somewhere and offered it to the wolf. Here, Goofy, eat this." It snatched it and ate without hesitation. He kept praising it, so comfortable sitting up here. Suddenly, Jin-gook paused and looked up, speculating he must be playing this game too, right? Jin-gook recalled the student who had called him and wondered, "His name is Park Jin-sung, right?" He frowned, put a hand to his chin, and thought further, I should have asked what his class was. There's no way he could be a summoner, right? Meanwhile, in another place in some deep, endless cave, Jin Sung's group was fighting goblins. Harren said, "Ian, defend this side." He replied, "Harren, heal me." Rukin looked at the two of them and thought to himself, "We're finally at the last part of the quest. The hidden boss, the Goblin High Priest, will appear, so should I get ready for the real plan?" He continued to scheme. "While these two are dealing with the Goblin High Priest, we'll pretend to be busy and then finally attack these two fools and take everything." Rukin imagined countless wonderful things in his head. "Soon I'll have an artifact worth millions of gold in my hand." Seeing Rukin smiling with satisfaction and drooling, Jin Sung clicked his tongue and thought, look at him smiling. He should at least keep a straight face. The message window appeared. He messaged Harren, "The boss will appear soon." She asked back, "So what do we do?" Jin Sung turned back and communicated with her through his eyes, then continued messaging. "Do you see the place that looks like a prison? If anyone takes even one step inside, the boss will appear in 5 seconds, then the entrance will be blocked by iron bars." Jin Sung messaged while making guiding gestures. "We'll keep following from behind, and when I give the signal, jump back quickly, okay?" Jin Sung shouted the command. Lai attack. Lai immediately got into position and charged forward. It opened its mouth and roared, then launched attacks at the goblins. He turned to urge Rukin, "Let's speed up and go in." Okay, hearing this, he immediately agreed, "Yes, of course." Rukin turned away and thought to himself, "Harren, you heard Rukin's invitation, right? What do you think?" I think on the other side, Jin Sung was also thinking, "That's probably what he's thinking, this snake." Harren said, "Hey, Ian, do you see over there? The High Priest and 2 berserkers will appear there. Let's go in right now. Let's go in right now. You look over at Lai, all right, Lai, you take the lead." All 5 of them stood watching the wolf count down 5, 4, 3, 2. As he counted, he felt something was wrong. When the number 1 was called out, Harren was about to step forward when Jin Sung suddenly grabbed her hand and pulled her back hard. Behind them, an iron frame suddenly slammed down into the ground. He pulled her into his arms and quickly dodged to one side. The iron frame crashed down, separating the two areas with a thunderous boom. Dust and smoke billowed up. Rukin, standing inside with his hand on the gate, wondered, Ian Harren, what are you two doing? Why didn't you two come in? It turned out he was the one who made the iron gate fall. Jin Sung chuckled softly. Why, you ask? Are you really asking me why he snapped his fingers and continued? I knew you guys were planning to PK us. To steal my summoner artifact. His face was full of surprise. What he thought in confusion, how did he know Jin Sung covered his mouth with his hand and said sarcastically, so I had no reason to follow your plan. Of yours at all. Have fun in there, the three of you. Suddenly, Rukin's expression changed. He smirked and said, You fool, you don't understand anything. You can't escape from here. He stuck out his tongue tauntingly. The quest says that returning outside is impossible, unless the boss monster is killed or all party members are wiped out. After we kill the high priest and these iron bars are lifted, it will be your funeral. It won't be long. But Jin Sung didn't care at all and burst out laughing. Ha ha, thanks for the warning. He shouted an order. Lai bite immediately. Lai rushed forward, unleashing attacks on the other three. A notification window appeared. Summoned Beast Lai inflicts critical damage on Mulan. Mulan's health drops by 1,977, 32% of total health. Seeing this, Rukin was shocked and drew his sword. What? It attacked continuously. The display also kept notifying New York is bleeding and will take 215 damage per second for 10 seconds. He gritted his teeth in frustration, cursing, this rabid dog. Seemingly satisfied, Jin Sung said cancel summon. Suddenly behind Rukin, goblins appeared. He said in shock, what impossible? Rukin was filled with fear and horror, gritting his teeth in resentment. This bastard! The goblin chief was dead, but now he was appearing with two other giant goblins. They flashed barbaric smiles at Rukin. Full of rage, he turned back to look at Jin Sung and declared, You son of a B***itch, you think we can't kill the boss just because of this. After we kill the boss and the iron bars lift, you'll be next. Hearing this, he calmly sat down and casually replied, I don't think you guys can do it. Rukin, full of resentment, gripped the iron bars and cursed. Damn it, behind him, the horde of goblins continued to appear. A notification slid into view. Quest boss has been summoned. Immediately, the goblin horde fully appeared. Rukin ordered deal with these boss monsters first. We'll handle that bastard later, Falcon agreed in pain. Damn it, all right. Meanwhile, Jin Sung leisurely sat whistling and cleaning his ears with delight. Rukin gritted his teeth and taunted him. Let's see if you can be so calm later. Then he rested his chin on his knee and asked, Has any third-rate villain ever actually succeeded? After saying that line, Harren, a little worried, turned to ask Jin Sung, will they be okay? He looked back at her and said, If you're worried, you should help them. Harren asked back. Help inside Rukin was relentlessly swinging his sword, attacking the goblins. Two axes clashed with a loud clang-clang. Mulan was also desperately fending off the continuous attacks from the goblin. They attacked relentlessly. Rukin used both his sword and shield to defend. By now, he was truly furious. He swung his sword to strike back at the goblin attacking him. The goblin chief stood behind, raising its staff and saying something. The goblin that was just struck in the chest by Rukin gritted its teeth in anger, glaring at him. Seizing a slim opportunity, Rukin shouted back, We need to get the high priest. Before he finishes the spell, Falcon said, Leave it to me. Instantly, Falcon's dart shot forward with the speed of wind. It plunged directly into the goblin chief, causing it to cry out in pain. Rukin's eyes darted the corner of his mouth, curling up slightly. He thought this should be enough. Suddenly, a voice rang out, Berserker's blessing. Now the two goblins that were just hit stood straight up. A powerful energy radiated from their bodies. The notification continued to display. Berserker's blessing has been activated. The stats of the fallen goblins have increased by 35%. It was Harren who had buffed them. Rukin was utterly astonished. What is this? This is the blessing of the wind. She was holding her staff high in her hand, the staff emitting a powerful blue light. He asked resentfully, You B***itch, you're buffing the monsters. Notifications popped up continuously. Blessing of the Wind has been activated. The dexterity of the fallen goblins has increased by 42%. After she was done, Harren turned to ask Jin Sung, Is that good? He replied, Since you're at it, you might as well bless their strength too. No, forget buffing, just heal the whole lot of them. Without hesitation, she raised her staff again, a slight smile on her face. Shall I? Rukin, Mulan, and Falcon saw this and screamed in terror. No, please, for God's sake, don't! And so the notification appeared once more, mission failed. The three of them could only weep silently. Night fell, the stars shining brightly in the sky. Harren sat on Lai's back while Jin Sung walked beside them. The three of them had returned to the city. He looked at his screen and thought to himself, those fools left behind some pretty good items. Jin Sung turned to her and said, now let's go to the auction house and sell these things. Harren, resting her hands on Lai's back, said a bit shyly, thank you, Ian. Thanks to you, we completed the mission and got valuable items, too. Jin Sung waved his hand humbly and replied, it was nothing. You did a great job, too, Harren. In his mind, he thought. But who would have known the High Priest would give us his Crimson Earth necklace? The necklace appeared. Jin Sung continued to think, splitting it feels a little painful, but I got a lot of items anyway. So it's not exactly a loss. In his mind, he imagined an excited Harren raising her hands and shouting, hit them more harder. Jin Sung scratched his head and chuckled to himself. Well, I didn't know Harren could get that excited. All's well that ends well. He turned and said to her, hey, let's go. He turned back and continued to the auction house. In a flash, the three of them arrived at the auction house. The buyer immediately handed over a bag of money, saying, here is the payment. He happily took it. I knew it, we got a whole bunch. The screen displayed received 660,000 gold. Jin Sung picked up a gold coin and calculated, if we subtract the auction house fee, the total is 660,000 gold. He then turned, remembering something. By the way. Jin Sung held up the stone in his hand and asked, this stone is... what is it? It's one of the items those PKers dropped. He fiddled with it in his hand and continued, it's warm, so maybe it's a heat pack for winter. The item description doesn't say anything other than the two words unknown. It feels like a waste to throw it away. As he was speaking, Harren waved from behind, calling Ian, I've bought enough for dinner. Jin Sung called back to Harren. He held out his hand and said cheerfully, in that case, let's go finish this quest together. She immediately agreed, okay. The night scenery was beautiful, with the bright moonlight casting its glow on the houses in the city. Lapierre saw the two of them approaching and greeted them. Ian, welcome. Your contribution was truly incredible. Jin Sung replied, thanks. Notification windows appeared, quest complete. You were the biggest contributor to this quest. Completion rank SS received 56,700 gold, received 1,743,200 experience points. Level up. You have reached level 32. Level up, you have reached level 33. Level up, you have reached level 34. He looked at the notification and couldn't help but rejoice inwardly. That's so much experience, and the gold reward is pretty decent too. Harren also saw the results and winked, boasting, hey Ian. I went up one level to 46. Jin Sung immediately praised her. Oh, congratulations. As if remembering something, he touched his lips lightly and said, oh, right, by the way, Commander. He replied, what is it? Jin Sung held up the necklace and continued. Actually, I encountered the Goblin High Priest behind the barracks. Lapierre praised, look at that. You even managed to kill the goblin, oh, wonderful. The notification window appeared again. Quest complete. Completion rank B+. Received 674,200 experience points. Level up, you have reached level 35. Seeing this, Jin Sung was thrilled and thought happily, nice, another level up. He turned and said, I'm impressed. The Guard Corps has also been searching for the Goblin High Priest for a few months now. How did you find him? He smiled and waved his hand humbly, replying, I was just lucky. Hearing this, Lapierre immediately denied it. No, it couldn't have been just luck. Then a rolled-up piece of paper appeared in his hand. Lapierre continued, you deserve to receive this. Jin Sung looked at it in amazement and asked, this is the paper unrolled, and a brilliant golden light shone into his eyes, surprising him. The notification window immediately displayed, you have received a letter of recommendation to participate in the mercenary test of the Lucibin Kingdom. Jin Sung realized it was the quest completion reward. Lapierre handed it to him and said, if you accept this, you can participate. In the mercenary test of the Lucibin Kingdom, you must take the test in Moran. I can see great talent in you. Taking the letter, he replied happily, thank you so much, Commander, I will definitely participate. Then he thought to himself, I should take the test when I get to Moran. He took out another letter and offered it to Harren. I'm giving this to you as well. Please use your strength to create a future for the Lucibin Kingdom. She reached out to accept it and agreed, of course. Harren then turned to ask him, but Ian, do you know what this recommendation letter is? Jin Sung replied, yes, if you take this to the Mercenary Guild in Moran, you'll be able to take the mercenary test. She asked, puzzled Moran, he then explained. In Kailan, there are 5 continents. The ones currently open are Kolonaru, where we are now, and a recently opened place called Maraka. In a grand hall, soldiers stood around. In the middle, a certain king was seated with guards standing on both sides. Jinsung continued, within this Kalonaru continent there are two great kingdoms, one of which is the Lusaban kingdom. Its capital is Muran, established and named after the kingdom's heroes. Oh, I see, Harin replied. Thank you for letting me know. He put a hand to his chin and thought to himself. Before level 50, I don't have a reason to go to Muran yet. She then added, can I ask one more thing? Harin asked, what's the benefit of taking the mercenary test? Jinsung answered, if you pass the test and receive a mercenary title, you can get quests from NPCs more easily. You can also gain many benefits from the mercenary guild. He raised his hand and continued, depending on your melee skills, you'll be awarded different title ranks. That sounds good. After hearing that, she exclaimed, wow. I'm just going to cook for a while, so I don't think I need anything. Jinsung asked back, cooking. In her mind, she imagined herself bustling around a cutting board and pan, cooking with a bright smile. Just cooking and this, too. After thinking, she raised her hand resolutely and said, that's right. I plan to go back and train my cooking skill until my main cooking quest gets stuck again. Hearing that Jinsung silently affirmed it seems the most important thing in the world to Harin is cooking. I don't know about other things, but Harin's cooking level is definitely top tier. He looked helplessly at Lai and continued to think just the fact that Harin's food increases Lai's stats is enough. Jinsung recalled a time in reality when he was eating a sandwich and thinking that, looking through the whole community, I've never heard of anyone getting a stat boost after eating. He acknowledged in his mind that means her food is very special. Jinsung shyly put a hand behind his head, rubbing it, and asked, hey Harin, can I ask a little about your proficiency in the chef profession? I wonder how many dishes she's sold. She happily replied, of course. Was I supposed to keep my proficiency a secret? Harin raised one finger and said confidently, it's high grade level 1. She continued, I need to quickly learn more high-level skills. Jinsung was surprised and thought with admiration. Even for the most popular crafting professions like blacksmith, the highest proficiency I've heard of is high grade level 3. He continued to think to reach such a high level in the cooking profession. Harin must be one of the highest. Jinsung raised his hand proudly and said, I'll cheer you on. I heard it's very difficult to raise proficiency in a crafting profession, Harin. You're really amazing. He added, if you need my help with anything, just let me know. Hearing Jinsung's support and praise, she said shyly, thank you very much, Ian. You promised okay. Jinsung lightly tapped his own head, smiled brightly, and replied, of course. Then he thought, did I say something? The screen displayed a notification. Harin has sent you a friend request. He looked at it with delight. Jinsung selected accept while saying, I'll add you as a friend right now. Harin replied, thank you, Ian. From somewhere, she produced a gift box, her eyes filled with gratitude. Ian, this is a gift for you. Jinsung took it and asked, what is this? Harin replied shyly, I made this while waiting for you. LaPierre, who was off to the side, saw this scene, smiled, and turned away. He opened it, and inside were slices of incredibly delicious-looking beef. Jinsung said joyfully, thank you. Then he thought Harin is truly an angel. Seeing this, she was delighted, smiling with her eyes closed, and thought, I hope Ian doesn't misunderstand my intentions. Jinsung couldn't hide his happiness and continued, I will enjoy it, Harin. She waved her hand, saying, it's nothing compared to how you helped me. Then Harin said goodbye to him. Well, I have to go now. I've been online for too long, so I have a few things to take care of. Jinsung replied, see you later, Harin. After saying goodbye, she gradually disappeared. Jinsung smiled and waved goodbye. He opened his screen and said, let's see. 5 more hours before I have to go to sleep. I leveled up faster than I thought today. Should I go have dinner and come back? Jinsung wondered to himself, should I order some chicken as a reward for myself? It was the next morning. He was riding on Lai's back, rushing forward like the wind. Jinsung looked a bit hurried. Let's go, Lai. He urged, hurry up, we're running out of time. Jinsung thought the chicken delivery was slower than I expected. Looking out from a high vantage point, he saw a boat docked nearby. Jinsung pointed over there. He said loudly, let's go to the port, I'll lead the way. Jinsung hurriedly thought, I've been here before. But it's been so long, I don't remember the way clearly. He affirmed his thoughts, if I want to catch an ice golem, I have to go to the Abyssal Island. The two of them quickly reached the port. Jinsung pointed again that way. Lai, just run in that direction. But when they arrived, the boat had already left the port. He panicked. Oh no, the boat, no, I have to get on that boat. Jinsung tensed up, gritting his teeth as he looked at the boat. Jinsung relentlessly urged Run Lai. We can't let it get away. The wolf then took a running start and leaped off the ground. The wolf's silhouette immediately soared high into the sky. Everyone on the boat looked over there in astonishment. But suddenly the boat was too far. Lai couldn't reach it. Jinsung shouted in panic, it's too far. Without another word, he stood up and leaped from Lai's back, jumping to cover the remaining distance. The wolf was terrified, thinking it would fall into the sea. Instantly, he gave the command to unsummon. Lai was gradually recalled, so it was unharmed. After his feet landed safely on the boat, Jin Sung adjusted his clothes and sighed in relief just in time. What beautiful weather. Everyone on the boat stared with their mouths agape. Jaws dropped in amazement. He turned his head and scratched it, not knowing how to explain. Jin Sung thought, I'm not used to this boat. Can't they use a better one? From somewhere, a greeting hello came from behind. A man was approaching and said, could it be that you're a summoner? Hearing this, he turned around a bit surprised to see 4 people standing there looking at him. Jin Sung replied warily, that's right, why do you ask? The man chuckled lightly, I knew it. He then realized and thought, wait a minute. Looking again, this is the only group on the boat. Someone from the other side said, it's just... He continued to think, could it be? Jin Sung immediately became vigilant, summoning his divine staff and thinking PK. The person on the other side continued, it's just... Suddenly, his eyes widened in surprise as he looked up. The group of people rushed forward, jostling and pushing each other, saying, that dog you were just riding, no. What breed is that wolf? They kept asking, you're a summoner, right? How did you get such a cool dog? It's so big and awesome, can I pet it? Can you summon it again? Jin Sung quickly hid the staff behind his back, thinking to himself, I misunderstood. He sighed in relief and thought, it seems these people like Lai. I was on guard for nothing. The boat continued to glide across the sea. Jin Sung asked curiously, are you guys going to the Abyssal Island for a quest? It turned out the man who had greeted him was Hans. The girl in the wide-brimmed hat next to him was Lid, and a hooded woman standing beside him extended her hand and said, that's right, the other 2 are both mages, and we're helping them complete their ice magic quest. He then asked, are you also going there for a quest? Lid asked further, could there be a quest for summoners on the Abyssal Island? Asking so directly, he bowed his head slightly and said, sorry, I couldn't stop being curious. Jin Sung smiled lightly and waved his hand. It's okay. Hans continued to be honest, I'm very interested in the summoner class. In my group of friends, there's a guy named Lauren who is also a summoner. He hesitated and continued. However, that friend recently found a summoned beast egg. Do you know about it? Then an egg appeared in Hans's hand, a summoned beast egg. He looked at it, wondering in his mind, a summoned beast egg. Seeing it, Jin Sung asked, what's that? He pointed at it to show him. You don't know. They said they found it in the nest of a golden beast. It hasn't hatched yet, that's all I've heard. Jin Sung immediately replied, I see. He crossed his arms, picturing the monsters, and mused the hunting grounds for golden beasts appear in the latter half of the level 20, so this Lauren person still hasn't reached level 31. A summoned beast. Egg something like that exists. I'll have to research it carefully next time. Even for unconquerable boss-level monsters, if you can get one of their eggs, you can use it as a summoned beast, huh? Jin Sung put a hand to his chin and praised silently, that sounds great. I'll have to be on my guard. The boat cut through successive waves. Waves crashed against the side of the boat, creating white foam. Ahead, in the faint mist, an island appeared. Below, in the water, floating ice floes appeared. Jin Sung stood watching the area. In the blink of an eye, he said, we've arrived at the Abyssal Island. The boat quickly approached the island, docking against an ice floe, and stopped. Everyone disembarked. Hans shivered and said, this is my first time on the Abyssal Island, but something gives me the chills. And this place is covered in ice, so it's crazy cold. The person next to him also shivered violently and replied, I know what you mean, I'm about to freeze to death here. On his side, Jin Sung wasn't doing much better. He hugged himself, shivering, and thought to himself, I've been here before. But it's still a pretty mysterious place. Jin Sung turned to look at Lai and thought, should I wear more layers of clothing? Hans and the others waved goodbye to us. We're heading this way. If we meet again, let's do the same. He also waved back, wishing them good luck on their mission. Everyone agreed to meet again after the wolf's den. Then Jin Sung turned and said, shall we get going too? He and Lai stood on the high place, looking down, observing the area below, which was filled with ice monsters. They were rugged and ferocious, Jin Sung, seeing this, said. Nice, found a good hunting ground. He leaned against Lai and continued, let's get to work, shall we? Time to get ready. Jin Sung put his hand in his pocket, searching, let's see, where's the lunch? Harren gave me, he pulled out a piece of meat, raised it, and asked Lai, you want to try this? Lai's face was full of excitement. Looking up, it immediately snatched it from Jin Sung's hand. The notification window popped up, summon Lai has eaten a meatball for 40 minutes. Health increased by 100, agility increased by 20. Seeing this, he happily praised, you got a 20-point increase in agility this time. I didn't expect you to get agility points too. The duration is doubled too, huh? Jin Sung opened his palm, revealing a piece of meat, and asked, should I try one? Before he could finish speaking, he quickly pinched his nose and glanced away. Looking at the smell of raw meat, Jin Sung remembered she had made a sign that he couldn't eat it and told him this is for Lai. This is only for summoned beasts. He realized that's why she told me to feed it to Lai. Jin Sung opened the box Heron gave him. The meat still looked delicious, he said, then I'll eat this. While eating, he praised it enthusiastically. It's so good, Jin Sung had already finished it all lying on his back with his hand on his stomach, his face full of satisfaction. That was phenomenal, so delicious. A notification window appeared. You have eaten premium lean meat for 1 hour. Your health has increased by 500 and your defense has increased by 30. He saw it and praised this effect as much better than the meatballs. The notification bar appeared again. You have eaten a high-grade dish for the first time. All stats will be permanently increased by 3. Jin Sung was completely surprised what he stared at it and asked a permanent stat increase. Jin Sung immediately commanded open status window screens appeared one after another. Player info, Ian level 35 experience, 179,540 out of 700,000, which is 25.64%. Race human class summoner, taming master title master hunter, HP 2,955, strength 67 plus 15 agility 102 plus 12 intelligence 52 plus 25 stamina. 70 plus 40 charm, 67 training, 108 leadership, 105 mana, 1,750 reputation, 75,336 when reputation is below 0. You will become an outlaw. He calculated and pondered a total of 7 different stats, each increased by 3, meaning I got 21 stat points if I convert this to levels. It would be equivalent to leveling up 4 times. Jin Sung thought of Heron, raised his thumb, and said gratefully, Heron is amazing. But then his expression changed to a sly smile. It's best to take advantage of Heron to get more food. After thinking, Jin Sung stood up and called Lai, all right, let's go catch a big chunk of ice. Lai, meanwhile, in the kingdom of Lucy Bell, the figures of 3 people gradually appeared. People looked and whispered, why are those people sitting on the street? Are they homeless? You lose all your equipment and items. If you die, they must have died and logged back in after 24 hours. It seems they failed their quest. It turned out to be Ruki Milan and Falcon's group. He hung his head in shame listening to those sarcastic remarks. The 3 of them looked gloomy, competing to lament my lizard rider armor. It was very expensive. My Halios necklace was a 3rd-rank rare item. Rukin said resentfully, at least you guys still have some items you could keep. Nothing left. I couldn't unequip any of my gear and lost it all. He remembered Jin Sung and Heron and cursed those 2 bastards who PK'd us. They must be very weak. If we hadn't fallen into a trap, they would be the ones sitting here. He stood up, pointed his finger, and declared resolutely, I'll show you what happens when you make an enemy of our guild. You won't be able to do anything anymore. From today on, I won't let you set foot in Kalen on Jin Sung's side after the 2 of them fought the ice monsters. Jin Sung sighed in relief. I'm pretty tired after hunting for 10 hours straight. He turned and said, let's take a short break, Lai, shall we? The 2 of them found a nearby spot to sit down and rest. Jin Sung took out another meatball and asked Lai want another one. Its eyes lit up with craving. He immediately tossed it up here. Lai quickly caught it in its mouth and ate it. It looked up satisfied, making a sound as if it were humming a song. He chuckled lightly. That's right. Then Jin Sung took out another one and said, you're so big, but this piece is so small, you should probably have another one. It looked at it drooling, but instead of eating it, pushed it back towards him with its paw. Jin Sung looked at it, surprised, you're not full already. Lai immediately shook its head, indicating that wasn't it, seeing that he realized, and patted its head. You want to give it to me. You're so kind, Lai, even thinking of me. It's okay, this one is yours. I'll eat something else. Jin Sung brought up a screen and said, let's see what the stats of these ice golems are like. On the screen were Lai and 2 ice monsters. He continued, these 2 are both level 37. I should catch one more to make use of my leadership points. Jin Sung looked and continued. These 2 are quite big compared to the rest, but I still feel like something's missing. He looked up, turned to Lai, and determined I need one more that can evolve like Lai. Jin Sung stood up and instructed, let's rest for a bit. Lai, we've already spent a lot of time here. There's no way I can't catch a better one on the ice island. Countless monsters were roaming around. Jin Sung and Lai hid behind an iceberg observing. Suddenly, his face was full of amazement as he looked up. He had discovered one with a gold name, a golden ice golem. It was truly bigger than the others. He exclaimed, the heavens are smiling on me a little early today. Jin Sung immediately waved his hand and commanded Lai, go get it. Before he could finish speaking, a blue turtle appeared out of nowhere and rushed out. He asked, puzzled, what's that? Jin Sung commanded, check information. The info panel appeared, ABC turtle level 30 rank unique. He immediately thought an ABC turtle. First time I've heard of it. Jin Sung looked again and thought, wait, unique rank. He raised his hand to cover his mouth, pondering this turtle looks pretty useless, but it's kinda cute with that big head. I wonder if it has any combat skills. Quickly dismissing the thought, Jin Sung reached out his hand to summon his divine staff and decided whatever, I'll just catch it. I have a feeling it's something special. It's a rare, unknown species, and it's also unique rank. I can't let you get away. Then he saw something that made him hesitate and speculate, but what's that? Jin Sung continued to think, it's like if I hit it now, it'll die instantly. How does it fit into its shell with that big head? He raised his staff and said, let's see. Jin Sung lightly tapped the turtle's shell. It was immediately startled and stood up in less than a second. It zipped into its shell. He looked on, confused. Jin Sung wondered, can I catch it now? He raised his hand to summon the capture skill. Bright red notification bars appeared. Capture failed. Capture failed. He retracted his hand, surprised, and said, what? It can't be caught. Jin Sung immediately raised his staff and decided I have to lower its HP first. He hit it with his staff. The notification displayed, you attacked the IBS turtle. HP decreased by 1. Seeing this, he said that hit was a bit light. Then Jin Sung swung his staff high and struck with a stronger blow. The notification appeared again. You attacked the IBS turtle. Damage dealt 1. The same notification bar kept appearing after a while. He was also getting tired and thought confusedly. Even though I hit it pretty hard, it only lost 1 HP. What the hell is this? Jin Sung, out of options, turned to Lai and said, Lai, bite it. Lai received the command and immediately rushed out. It used its paws to hold the turtle down and opened its mouth to bite it. The notification continued to appear. You attacked the ABC turtle. Damage dealt 1. He was dumbfounded and extremely puzzled. Damn, how much defense does it have? Jin Sung knelt down, looked at it, and continued to ponder, what should I do? Suddenly, his eyes lit up. I've got it. Jin Sung immediately took out the meatball to lure it. Let's see if it'll eat this. He said in a soft voice, little turtle, this is really delicious. You'll regret it if you don't come out. It slowly poked its big head out. Jin Sung exclaimed, great, it's working. He put the meatball down and said, if you want to eat it, come here. Without hesitation, the turtle crawled over. Seeing this, he said, that's right, good job. In a flash, it arrived and opened its mouth to eat the meatball, its face full of delight. Suddenly, Jin Sung quickly took the meatball back. The turtle clearly showed its anger. He said, you want to eat it, then follow me. Jin Sung continuously tempted it. If you follow me, I'll give you even more delicious food. Don't you want it? As he spoke, he opened his other hand, revealing several more meatballs, and said, this is quite an expense. But Jin Sung said with a mischievous look in his eyes, if you make a deal with me, all of this will be yours. Seeing the meat, the turtle's face went blank with delight. A stream of light shot out. Jin Sung commanded capture. He clenched his fist all right. A notification appeared. You have just captured an AB turtle. Jin Sung looked at the screen and teased this dumb turtle. Capturing you was harder than flirting with a model. He was suddenly surprised, his eyes wide open, and said, what is this? Jin Sung thought to himself, it can evolve. The information panel appeared. ABC turtle level 30, health 3,520, mana 1,005, attack 15, defense 725, dexterity 5, intelligence 55, class unique. Trait naive, can evolve, default skill. Water's measure absorbs all attack power from water skills and recovers health equivalent to the damage dealt drain. Each time it absorbs into the turtle's shell, its defense increases by 5 points. It's a resident of the deep island and only appears once every 100 years. Because its head is big, its movement is quite slow. Jin Sung looked at its delighted expression. I knew there would be something good. He couldn't stop praising how amazing. Suddenly he noticed something. Jin Sung panicked and said, wait a minute, what is this? He was startled and said, why are the stats so weird? Only the defense is high and the special skill even adds 5 armor. Jin Sung put his hands on his hips and continued, its armor is even higher than a level 100 monster's. No wonder I was hitting it for so long and it only lost 1 health point. He continued to look at the screen to see its hidden potential points. What dexterity 5 points? Jin Sung was extremely confused. What even its hidden potential points are at 0. Charm 10. I don't get it at all. Jin Sung turned back and sighed. I guess my only hope is that later on. This turtle can evolve. But he regained his faith and said, that's right. Who knows what it will become after it evolves? Then he raised his hand to summon it. The turtle gradually appeared. A notification bar opened. Ibis. Turtle has been summoned for the first time. Please give it a name. Jin Sung stroked his chin thoughtfully. A name, huh? After a moment, he smiled brightly and pointed at it. Ah, that's it. Your name will be Pipugi. The turtle immediately looked displeased and angry. The notification bar continued to display. Pipugi doesn't like its name. He was a little embarrassed. What do you mean by that, huh? Pipugi is a cute name, But a moment later, he became a bit indignant and scolded the turtle. "What, you don't like it? Don't make me laugh. Your name will be Papugi from now on." After a bit of back and forth, Jin Sung and Lai were standing on a large iceberg again. Continuing to observe, he turned to give an order. "Lai, it's time to hunt." Immediately, Lai rushed down and launched an attack right in front of the monster with a golden name. That monster saw Lai rushing down like that. It swung its arm, throwing a punch straight down, but Lai dodged it, avoiding the punch, which then slammed hard onto the ground, creating a deafening sound. Lai seemed to be provoked. It opened its mouth, revealing its sharp teeth, and roared loudly after that roar. Lai charged forward and attacked the ice golem monster's head. The ice golem gritted its teeth in pain. Each of Lai's blows made it stagger. Jin Sung frowned and praised, "That's right, you're doing great. Just keep weakening it." The monster seemed enraged. It turned around, its fierce eyes glaring at Lai. He thought, "I have a bad feeling about this." It clenched its teeth, its eyes full of resentment. Then it smiled, stood up straight, and lifted one leg in front of Lai. Jin Sung realized it was an ice wave. It's trying to cast that skill. He shouted loudly, "Lai, dodge it! Get away from there!" The ice monster immediately slammed its foot down, crushing everything and creating fierce ice waves. Luckily, Lai managed to dodge that stomp in time. Jin Sung shouted again, "Lai, jump up." He looked at it and thought, because it just used that skill. It will take a while before it can use it again. Jin Sung took the opportunity, bent his knees, and jumped high, thinking, this is my chance. A triumphant smile appeared on his lips right after that. The jump gave him the momentum to get above the monster's head. Jin Sung looked down, aiming straight for its eye, and charged forward. The divine staff in his hand immediately shone brightly. Radiating incredible power, it was surprised and distracted. Seeing this, he saw his chance and smashed the staff directly into the monster's head. Its eye immediately exploded. The monster roared in agony. Jin Sung and Lai also landed successfully. Seeing it struggling to endure his blow, Jin Sung shouted loudly, "Now attack, Lai," and so, with murderous intent in their eyes, they both charged forward to attack. They both unleashed a critical hit on it. Jin Sung gave the command, "Capture." The notification bar appeared. "You have just captured the ice golem." After it was done, he sat down, putting both hands on the ground, and sighed in relief. It took a while to finally catch a good one. The information panel appeared. Ice Golem level 38, health 5,450 mana, 1,275 attack, 205 defense, 315 dexterity, 66 intelligence, 12,525 type Golem rank, common trait gentle. Can evolve default skill Ice Wave. It stomps its foot, creating a wave of frost in a 15-meter radius. All targets hit will receive 50% of attack power as damage and have their speed reduced by 30% for 10 days. Frozen body. When in a snowy or icy area, all stats are increased by 30%. However, it will receive double damage from fire elemental damage. A creation from the abyss. Jin Sung looked at the screen. Its hidden potential was already at 75. It was truly worth every penny. He turned and said to Lai, "Okay, so we're all prepared now." Then he suddenly asked, "Where's that turtle?" After searching for a while, Jin Sung found it. "There you are." He picked it up in the turtle's mouth. It was still munching on a fish. Jin Sung thought, it took me almost 2 days to catch this golem. I should probably head back. He thought further. That's right, next up is Croatia's snow mountain scene change. At this time in Croatia, Duke inside the castle. Hareen was busy cooking, humming a song as she cooked. She raised her hand to wipe the sweat from her forehead. Phew, I hope it's a success this time. A delicious-looking dish appeared. The notification bar showed you have successfully made lobster in cream sauce. A very appealing plate of lobster in cream sauce appeared. Harren was overjoyed. I did it. She picked up the plate of lobster and smiled from ear to ear. If I were a little more careful, this would probably sell for nearly 10,000 gold. It seemed she was tired. Harren scratched her head and said I should rest for a bit, shouldn't I? But her idea of resting here was to taste the food. Harren immediately took a bite and exclaimed to herself, "This is beyond my expectations. Since I started cooking in Duke's kitchen, my proficiency has been increasing really fast." She wondered, I wonder what Ian is doing right now. Harren opened her screen and messaged Ian. She continued, "I'm cooking in Duke's palace. I just finished." Jin Sung replied, "You mean Duke Turpin's palace?" Harren replied, "That's right, I'm in Turpin." He replied, "Yeah." Harren, she sensed something was off and asked, "What's wrong? Did something happen?" Jin Sung smiled faintly. "Well, could you do me a favor?" She was a little suspicious and thought to herself, Ian needs my help. Ian messaged again, "I'm planning to go to the northern region and I wanted some of your food, Harren." Harren thought it was no big deal and replied, "That's easy. I've just prepared quite a bit of food. Where should we meet?" After a moment, Harren messaged back, "Oh, okay, we'll meet there." She raised a hand to her chin and thought, "It's a good thing," Ian asked. "There's no way I could eat all this food I made by myself. I'll see him soon." Suddenly, Heron became shy and covered her face. It's not like I want to see him or anything, it's just because he asked. Back in reality, Jin Sung sat in front of his computer screen and said, "Let's see if there's any useful news today." A notification appeared on the computer screen. He was surprised. What's this? Is there new information discovered about summoners? Jin Sung clicked to see the news on the screen. There was a reporter and a girl holding an orange fox. The sound of an interview was heard. Is this the wolf that has attracted so many summoners? To Caliper's Hill. Yes, that's right. I call him Coco. The reporter praised. Its name is very cute, too. I heard that Coco is also different from others of its kind. Is that right? She replied, that's right. Looking at his information, you can see a line that says can evolve. Hearing that the water in his mouth was spat out, Jin Sung was utterly astonished. What information about summon beasts that can evolve has finally been revealed. He rested his chin on his hand and thought, well, it was only a matter of time. And I'm glad they're only finding out now. Jin Sung imagined the town and thought the number of summoner players is now countless. It's just a matter of sooner or later. They would also find out that summoners have the ability to evolve. He bit on his spoon and continued, but without the training skill, it's really difficult to evolve them. There's probably no other one, like Lai Jin Sung sat for a while but didn't see anything else. Is there no other information, huh? Suddenly he said a unique rank monster. On the screen appeared a brown bear. It was baring its teeth and growling fiercely, the first unique rank monster to be captured. Jin Sung put his arms behind his head with the spoon still in his mouth and said, I probably got one before this guy. He sighed and continued to be able to catch one at level 23. It's highly likely they got help from guild members or acquaintances to catch it. Jin Sung raised his arms and stretched. All right, let's go check on Papugi. Back in town, Jin Sung met up with Haran in his arms. He was holding a bag as big as his torso. Jin Sung looked at it apprehensively and said, isn't this a little too much? Haran said, just pay me for the ingredients. Oh, won't that be too much trouble for you? She clasped her hands together, her eyes full of gratitude and sincerity. It's nothing at all compared to the quest you helped me with, and that necklace, it's really nothing. He peeked inside and exclaimed, it looks like there are some super expensive items in here too. I want to dig in right away. Jin Sung smiled lightly and continued, thank you so much. I don't know how I can ever repay you, Haran. Haran hesitated, then her eyes lit up as she smiled mischievously and said, can you do two things for me? Jin Sung glanced at her and replied, sure, go ahead. Haran said shyly, the first request is. She looked at him. When you go hunting in the northern region, if you see any materials on this list, please get them for me. Jin Sung immediately agreed. Oh, sure, I can help with that. Haran continued, and the second request is he looked at her thinking to himself, what's with her? She's acting a bit strange. I wonder what she's going to ask. Jin Sung stroked his chin in anticipation, thinking, I hope it's not something that will take up my leveling time. Haran said, please help me in my upcoming class at school. Hearing that, he was a bit confused. She continued, when I asked one, he said that you're attending Korea University. Jin Sung replied, yes, that's right, I'm a first-year student there. He thought to himself, schoolwork. Does that mean she wants my help in real life? Haran introduced herself. I'm studying in the Culinary and Hotel Management Department at Korea University, and I'm a second-year student. Jin Sung replied, I see. In his mind, he thought, so we're at the same university, and she's my senior. Haran shyly rubbed her neck and said, you like good food, don't you? I was really hoping you could try all my dishes and see which one is the best. Because the class I'm taking is about creating original dishes, so before she could finish, he covered his mouth and added, so that means I just need to eat them and tell you if they're good or not. Haran, with a sincere and trusting expression, replied, that's right. You'll definitely help me, right? Jin Sung, still flustered with a blushing face, walked away and thought with his hand on his chin, why would Haran ask me for something like that? Doesn't she have any friends? He pictured the time she fought the goblins and thought further, I guess it's because she plays in a very unique way, so not many people interact with her under the shining sun. The town looked truly beautiful. He thought with determination, from now on, I'll focus on getting gear. Jin Sung brought up all the screens, looked at them, and said the quest in this area is a bit dangerous, and there isn't much information I have to make sure that when I get there. I have the best gear to fight. He kept selecting and reselecting, hesitating a lot. Oh, this one's good, I'll just buy it. No, wait, this one. Jin Sung smiled with delight. I've bought everything I need. Now, I just need a weapon. He raised his hand to the screen again, continuing to hesitate over his choice. I wonder if there's a bow like the wild-type one I bought before. Just as I expected, there are no bows at my level that can deal high damage. Jin Sung continued. There are no bows that can boost my summon's power should I broaden my search. He looked at something with a questioning expression. What's this? The screen showed Ancient Summoner's Iron Gauntlets. Ancient Summoner's Iron Gauntlets. Jin Sung was amazed this skill is. Back on that ice island, piercingly cold ice winds blew. A golem stomped hard and an ice wave immediately appeared. Jin Sung and Lai flew past it, he commanded. I'll attack from the front. You take care of the back, Lai. At that moment, a large ice ogre appeared in front. It furiously swung its fist. A powerful punch came down right where he was. But Jin Sung managed to dodge in time, so he was fine. A notification panel appeared. Weakness detection has been activated. A detected weakness will increase accuracy rate by 198% and critical hit rate by 23.5%. When attacking a weak point, you deal an additional 97% damage. The iron gauntlets appeared and equipped onto his hands. Jin Sung whispered in anticipation, I'm counting on you. I spent 900,000 gold on you. His eyes were firm and resolute. Let's go. Jin Sung leaped high with the iron gauntlets. The system announced. Weakness detected. The ice ogre looked at him, charging forward in surprise. A critical punch landed squarely on the ice ogre's body. It screamed in pain. The power of the iron gauntlets was immense, radiating astonishing strength. Jin Sung looked at the gauntlets with admiration. He thought it was truly worth every penny. It was a good buy. The screen displayed Ancient Summoner's Iron Gauntlets attack power 2,205 to 2,305, durability 314, health plus 20, dexterity plus 15%. Level 40 classification bear. Fist rank heroic minimum equip. Level 38 inherent ability. Health of all summons increased by 10%. Attack power increased by 25%. Critical damage increased by 55% when the player is hit by a critical attack. An inherent ability of a summon will be activated. Physical abilities are not activated. A weapon used by the second summon in ancient times that has the ability to affect summons, Jin Sung said, looking back now. I still love its inherent ability. It's amazing. If it's random, does that include Papugi too? Meaning if it activates, I will also. A notification panel appeared. Retreat when retracting into its shell defense is multiplied by 5. Suddenly a golem appeared behind Jin Sung. He looked around and continued. It's a good thing there's a clause about physical traits. He asked himself, should I use the new skill I got at level 30? At that moment, the ice ogre opened its mouth and roared fiercely. Then Jin Sung immediately performed a spatial swap, instantly dodging the attacking ice ogre's strike. The ice ogre's club hit the golem's head instead. Blood spurted from its head. A notification panel appeared. Summon. Slap received 1,375 damage from the ice ogre. From the side, he watched them attack each other and exclaimed, it worked. Jin Sung said, damn it, even for Slap to take over 1,000 damage. It's a level 60 ice ogre after all. He then summoned the iron gauntlets aimed at the ogre and continued, I have to take it down before it gets a chance to heal. A critical punch landed directly on the ice ogre's body. Swirling currents of air flew up. The notification bar displayed, you have dealt critical damage to the ice ogre. The ice ogre receives 596 damage, Jin Sung thought as he attacked. I need to keep up the assault. The notification continued to display. The effect of the Ancient Summoner's Iron Gauntlets has been activated. Success. The notification opened. You have borrowed the Berserk ability of Tai immediately. Jin Sung was no longer himself. His eyes, filled with bloodlust, became frenzied. Fire sparked in his gaze, and he clenched his teeth powerfully. The ice ogre on the other side also let out an earth-shattering roar. Instantly, a notification bar appeared. For 15 minutes, your attack power and dexterity are increased by 30%. The ice ogre was not to be outdone. It swung its fist directly at him. For 15 minutes, your defense is reduced by 30%, but Jin Sung quickly dodged it. He had to marvel at how his body had become more agile. I'm overflowing with power, but he also thought cautiously, however, in this state. I'll die if I take even a single hit with a 30% defense reduction, Jin Sung affirmed in his mind. Monsters that use wide area attacks will leave an opening afterward. Having thought this, he decided right now. He immediately landed a powerful attack on the ice ogre. Its health dropped from 876 to 621, the notification bar displayed. You have just landed a critical hit on the ice ogre. It continued to announce, thanks to the critical hit on the ice ogre, your attack power will increase for the next 5 seconds. Without delay, Jin Sung landed another iron fist straight on its chin. Leaving it no time to react, these iron gauntlets were truly powerful. They glowed as streams of power radiated endlessly. Once again, he swung a mighty punch down on it. The ice ogre was killed instantly, falling motionless onto its back. The notification bar displayed, you have killed an ice ogre, and received 1,060 experience points at this moment in the deep cold forest. A warm fire was lit. It was Johan, Fiona, and 2 other people's group. Johan said, I've set up a perimeter, because there will be times when ice snails above level 100 appear. Fiona looked over and praised him. You did a good job, she continued. The northern region is no place to mess around. It's a good thing we came on this expedition. Thanks to this, we can build a foundation for our guild, he said while listening to Fiona and handing her a cup drink this. She took it and thanked him Johan after hearing that replied exactly right. He held up a steaming hot cup and continued, although the reason we came here is because there isn't much territory left in the area. In the north, the question is, can we protect the place we've claimed? Fiona replied with determination, we have to do it within 3 months until we succeed. We need to utilize every member to fortify our base immediately after completing this expedition. We must bring the guild members here. He drank his water and looked at her intently. Fiona added, and we have to hunt in the surrounding area too? Johan raised a finger and interjected, everyone will come except for one person. She asked curiously, one person, who is that? He looked up and replied, what do you mean? Of course it's Ian. He has to hunt a lot in the southern region to level up. I wonder if Ian has come to the northern region yet, Fiona also said recently. He just asked me for some information about the northern region. He said he's going to hunt in the Croatia snow mountains and is looking for all the information. Johan asked in astonishment, what level is he now? She replied, I'm not sure about that either, but it's a good thing that Ian is leveling up so fast, isn't it? He heard that and thought with confusion, what the hell is that guy doing? This lunatic. Returning to the ice island, Jin Sung sighed and said, I didn't get much experience. He thought of his 3 beasts, the golem turtle and the wolf lie, and continued, now I'm sharing experience with 4 of them instead of 2. So I can clearly see that leveling up has become much harder. Even though I just passed level 40, Slap and Lie probably won't be able to go out for a week. Jin Sung brought up the screen, looked at it, and said, let's see now. It must be about time for Slap's potential to reach 100, right? He was a little surprised and asked, why is it like this? Slap's potential has already reached 100. Why hasn't it evolved yet? Jin Sung continued, isn't it supposed to evolve when its potential reaches 100? He crossed his arms, gazed into the distance, and said, I was sure of it. One of the conditions for evolution is 100 potential points. Are there other requirements besides potential level, maybe? But I remember Lai was only level 20 when it evolved. Jin Sung was still puzzled and stroked his chin, asking, does each monster require a different level to evolve? Whatever, it's not like I can do anything about it right now. He looked down at the turtle at Lai's feet and decided to continue. Now I have to use the training skill on Papuji, right? But he couldn't find it anywhere. He asked helplessly, where did this Pipuji go? Pipuji Jin Sung immediately went to look for it, calling out as he searched, if it were attacked, the system would have notified me. Pipuji, where did you go? Come on out and I'll give you this meatball. After a moment, he found it. The turtle was busy doing something. Jin Sung asked, what are you doing over here? He walked closer, saw it eating something, and asked again, what are you eating? A notification window popped up. The summoned beast Pipuji has just eaten a ghost potato. Notifications continued. Pipuji's potential increased by 10. All of Pipuji's stats increased by 5. Jin Sung, full of anger, picked it up and said, what, you ate a ghost potato? He put his hands on the ground and cried silently, saying, ghost potatoes are rare herbs that increase all stats by 5 points. I should have eaten that. Then he turned back and told it, next time you find something similar, you have to give it to me, okay? I'll give you a meatball. The turtle said nothing and turned away. Jin Sung asked, where are you going? He immediately followed it. Jin Sung was startled by what was in front of him. Ahead was a gate leading into a stone cave. He was amazed and couldn't believe his eyes. No way. This is probably... Jin Sung's eyes lit up as he said excitedly, this is... A message board appeared. You have become the first person to discover this labyrinth. Seeing that, Jin Sung exclaimed with joy, yeehaw, I'm the first to discover this labyrinth. The notification window appeared again. For the next 5 days, the item drop rate will be doubled. He exclaimed it wasn't a waste to travel all this way to the northern region. The notification presented him with a question. Will you register the labyrinth? Once the labyrinth is registered, you will receive 500 fame, yes or no? Seeing this, Jin Sung immediately said, no, why would I do that? If I do that, all the players in the area will rush over here. Why should I do that for others? He gave a sinister smile, thinking I can't share the experience and the double item drop rate with anyone else. Although 500 fame isn't a small amount. Jin Sung picked up the turtle and praised it. Good job, Pipuji, you finally did something useful. He started walking, thinking, now should I enter the labyrinth? And so they all entered the labyrinth together. Jin Sung exclaimed, I like simple labyrinths like this. But he was also on high alert, and continued small and complex labyrinths make it easy to be ambushed or fall into traps. Suddenly, a chill ran down his spine and he trembled, thinking, but what is this that's making me feel so creeped out? I feel like a ghost or something is about to appear. Suddenly, an explosion erupted, sending bricks and stones flying everywhere. From behind the smoke, large monsters appeared. They were ghost dragons. His vigilance was indeed correct. Jin Sung was shocked by this ambush. He immediately ordered Slap Ice Wave. The golem instantly stomped its foot, creating powerful waves of ice. Attacked by the ice wave, the ghost dragons were damaged. Notifications appeared. Ghost Dragon has taken 235 damage. Ghost Dragon has taken 227 damage. Ghost Dragon's movement speed has been slowed by 30% for 10 seconds. The Ghost Dragons roared in pain and indignation. Because it had just used the power of Ice Wave, the golem could only stand and watch them now. The enraged Ghost Dragons roared, preparing to attack. Jin Sung was extremely worried, thinking, how am I supposed to fight this thing? It'll be a while before I can use Berserk again. He turned and immediately assigned tasks, saying, Lai, you deal with the one on the left. I don't care if you can attack it or not. Just buy me some time. A notification appeared. The effect of the ancient summoner's iron fists has been activated. Instantly, 2 iron gauntlets appeared on his hands. Jin Sung jumped up, feeling lucky. He thought, all right, I've got you now. The iron gauntlets began to emit a dazzling blue light. The notification continued to display borrowed ice wave from the summoned beast Slap. Jin Sung's punch created a blinding stream of blue light. The chilling aura from the ice wave radiated intensely. The space was now split by a long trail of ice and splotches of black blood. Struck by the painful blow, the ghost dragon let out a roar of agony. Its cries intertwined with the system's sounds. Ghost Dragon has taken 635 damage. Ghost Dragon's movement speed has been reduced by 30% for 10 seconds. At that moment, Jin Sung seized the opportunity and shouted an order. Lie right now, get over here and attack it. He and his 2 summoned beasts focused on surrounding and preparing to attack the Ghost Dragon. Jin Sung gritted his teeth and thought, I get it now. They are offense-type monsters. Their attack stats are high, but their defense and health are low. As continuous attacks were launched, he told himself, I need to take them out quickly. One by one, the bleeding Ghost Dragons shrieked piercingly. 2 Ghost Dragons roared while simultaneously swinging their long tails. He kept glancing over at Lai, who was relentlessly charging at the Ghost Dragon to attack. Jin Sung yelled dodge. Instantly, he and Lai leaped high into the air, avoiding the attack. Then they both landed on the ground and continuously rushed towards the Ghost Dragon. He gritted his teeth and affirmed it's not going to be easy. Jin Sung watched and calculated, thinking, if we keep this up, the fight will drag on forever. He turned around and noticed something. It was the turtle, casually sitting with its legs crossed, leaning against the wall and yawning. Jin Sung was completely baffled, thinking, what is it doing? He immediately ordered Pipuji attack those 2 monsters and draw their attention. Don't just sit there. It immediately obeyed and jumped up. Pipuji stomped its foot hard on the ground, its power radiating as it moved to the front line. Jin Sung thought in amazement, is it really doing it? Even the Ghost Dragons turned to look at each other in confusion, but he still praised it, saying, that's right. You're so brave, that is my Pipuji. The 2 Ghost Dragons then used their feet to attack Pipuji. It quickly retracted its head into its shell. The 2 monsters just kept attacking Pipuji. A notification appeared. Pipuji has received a critical hit. Seeing this, Jin Sung called out loudly, Pipuji! In the end, he could only watch helplessly as notifications popped up continuously. Pipuji has taken 1 damage, he said wearily, 1 damage. Then Jin Sung pumped his fists together and said loudly, You're doing great, Pipuji, I believe in you. I believe in that monstrous defense of yours. Seeing the Ghost Dragons had let their guard down and were only focused on attacking Pipuji, he said confidently, I can win this fight. He pointed and immediately ordered everyone to attack. And just like that, after a period of fighting, Jin Sung's side was victorious, creating a total mess. Jin Sung wiped the sweat from his brow and sighed in relief. Phew, that was a close call taking them down. He continued, I've made it all the way down to the basement floor. But why does the atmosphere feel so strange? As he said this, Jin Sung looked back, wondering. A bright light appeared behind him, startling him. Jin Sung turned and shouted, Lie Slap, prepare to attack! But the light was incredibly blinding. Suddenly, an old man appeared from behind that dazzling golden light. He wondered an old man's ghost. It was Okwe. Okwe suddenly appeared and laughed. I see that you are a million summoner. Seeing the old man, Jin Sung was momentarily startled. He was a bit bewildered, thinking he can't be a monster, can he? Jin Sung was silent for a few seconds to calm himself, then asked, That's right, but who are you? Since you are an elder, I will be polite. Okwe calmly stroked his beard and replied, I didn't expect the first person to challenge Okwe's test would be a million summoner. I wonder if this is fate. Hearing the old man's words, Jin Sung was stunned again. He asked uncertainly, You are Mr. Is your name Okwe? Okwe nodded in confirmation. Precisely, my name is Okwe. Jin Sung hesitated and asked, I see. Then why are you here? Mr. Okwe, Oak-kwe replied in a slightly deeper voice, "I cannot tell you that yet." Jin-sung asked in surprise why. The old man smirked mysteriously. Suddenly, Oak-kwe raised his magic staff high and said loudly, "Oh, Challenger, if you pass my test, you will learn all the secrets of this labyrinth." Seeing the situation, Jin-sung immediately looked around cautiously as the space around him suddenly began to shake violently. Jin-sung muttered in confusion, "What is this?" Opposite him, Akli continued to shout loudly, summoning something. "Answer my call, Chaos Dragon." The orb on his magic staff suddenly glowed brightly. Startled, Jin-sung quickly turned his head to look. A massive explosion suddenly occurred behind him. From within the smoke and dust, the image of a pair of mighty wings emerged, and a giant tail appeared. It was accompanied by a deafeningly terrifying noise. The beast quickly stepped out. The creature summoned was a level 75 Chaos Dragon. Seeing it, Jin-sung was horrified and stammered a Chaos Dragon. The Chaos Dragon quickly approached him. Jin-sung hurriedly dodged backward, saying to himself, "It's twice the size of the demon dragons and as tall as a one-story building." Jin-sung shouted in fear. More importantly, it's level 75, a hero-grade monster. That's absurd. How am I supposed to defeat it? My summoning skill is only level 40. He hastily backed away from the Chaos Dragon, trying to figure out how to respond. When I feel like I'm about to die, I should unsummon my beasts first. At the same time, the Chaos Dragon let out a loud, threatening roar. Jin-sung's game system immediately announced, "Due to fear, your body has been weakened." The system continued to notify him. All stats decreased by 5% for 10 minutes. Jin-sung thought angrily, "Even if I die, I won't back down without a fight." On the other side, Akli had quickly flown to the Chaos Dragon. To control it, Chaos Dragon attacked that person. The Chaos Dragon immediately obeyed. It opened its mouth, preparing to breathe fire. Seeing this, Jin-sung's face filled with concern. It can even use a breath attack. He grabbed Papugi to dodge and quickly signaled for Slap and Lie to scatter. Just a second later, the Chaos Dragon's fiery breath shot straight at them. The flames blazed at the targeted spot. A second later, the flames erupted in an explosion. From within the fire, a strange silhouette appeared. Inside, Jin-sung had managed to use Papugi's defensive skill to dodge the attack. He whispered in fear, "That was close." I can't believe it could pierce through Papugi's freakishly strong defense and take away 1/3 of its HP. Jin-sung peeked out to observe the situation and guessed. "That thing is probably like the demon dragons with low defense and little HP, right?" With that thought, he began to move while ordering an ice wave. Jin-sung quickly controlled the beast Lie. "Use a berserk attack from behind," he thought with determination. "Even if I have to give up in the end, I won't back down without a fight." Jin-sung activated his weakness detection skill. He caught a glimpse of something under the ground. What's this? Before he could think further, the Chaos Dragon attacked again with its tail. Jin-sung hurriedly ordered everyone to dodge. From behind, Slap raised its hands to block, and the Chaos Dragon's tail slammed right into its face. Jin-sung watched worriedly as Slap was knocked back. Immediately after the system sound chimed, the summoned Slap has taken a critical hit. The system warned Slap has lost 4,728 HP. Jin-sung exclaimed in shock, "That's insane. Even for a level 70 boss monster, that's way too much." He immediately gave the command to unsummon Slap. At the same time, a loud noise caught Jin-sung's attention from the opposite side. Lie was fighting the Chaos Dragon head-on. It agilely landed many dangerous blows on the Chaos Dragon, causing a continuous stream of notifications. The summoned Lie has landed a critical hit on the Chaos Dragon. The Chaos Dragon's HP decreased by 1,776. The Chaos Dragon is inflicted with the bleed status, taking 335 damage per second for 10 seconds. The summoned Lie has landed a critical hit on the Chaos Dragon, so Lie's attack power has increased for 5 seconds. Jin-sung thought happily, "Awesome, Lie is attacking the boss's weak points, which matches my weakness detection skill." "Well done," he directed Lie. "Now keep attacking Lie. Swiftly charge forward, striking the Chaos Dragon's weak points." The Chaos Dragon lost 1,353 HP. The Chaos Dragon lost 2,087 HP. The Chaos Dragon lost 1,007 HP. After taking continuous damage, the Chaos Dragon roared in anger. It swung its tail hard towards Lie. The tail grazed past Lie. Then it flung Lie far away. Jin-sung moved forward in fear. Lie, no. He shouted, signaling for a spatial swap. Jin-sung's body was lifted off the ground. He quickly held out Papugi so it could use its defensive skill. A second later, Jin-sung, holding Papugi's defensive shell, swapped places with Lie. The Chaos Dragon's tail immediately swung hard, striking both of them. After the hit, Jin-sung and Papugi were quickly knocked back. The system displayed a notification Papugi has lost 118 HP. Jin Sung thought in terror, why is every single attack a critical hit? This stupid dragon. But our Papugi is still amazing. I can't believe it only lost about 100 HP. A second later, Jin Sung quickly calmed down and directed his summons to attack the Chaos Dragon. Lai, go bite it. Lai quickly leaped up to attack. The summon Lai has just landed a critical hit on the Chaos Dragon. The Chaos Dragon has lost 2,576 HP. Seeing this, Jin Sung was delighted and praised good job, Lai. As he observed the situation, he calculated that even though the Chaos Dragon just took a critical hit, it still seemed to have more than half its HP left. At the same time, the Chaos Dragon's tail whipped towards Jin Sung. Only then was he startled and tried to back away. Unfortunately, the Chaos Dragon's tail had already slammed into Jin Sung in an instant. He was immediately thrown far away, crashing into a wall. Jin Sung quickly looked at the notification board. You have lost 521 HP from being thrown into the wall. He worriedly calculated in his head, can I even win this? I don't want to die. A hero grade level 75 monster is too strong. Jin Sung gritted his teeth in frustration. My precious experience points will disappear along with the words game over. And there's a 24-hour login restriction too. That's too much to lose. With that thought, he resolutely said, even so, I must ensure Lai stays alive at all costs. I can't lose Lai. As Jin Sung looked around, he suddenly noticed, where's Lai? I need to unsummon it quickly. At that moment, Lai was behind the Chaos Dragon, pinned down and being pressed to the ground. The beast roared loudly and lunged towards where Lai lay, intending to attack. But it managed to escape in time. Seeing this, Jin Sung called out in alarm, then Lai continued to attack the Chaos Dragon. The summon Lai has just landed a critical hit on the Chaos Dragon. Attacking an injured body part adds 36% more damage. The Chaos Dragon has lost 3,269 HP. Jin Sung looked at the notification from the game system, thinking in amazement. Attacking injured spots grants extra damage. He rested his chin on his hand, thinking, so if I keep attacking the injured areas, the damage will increase. Lai has been attacking the weak spot on its neck this whole time. How did I only just realize this? I don't think this feature existed before. A second later, Jin Sung returned to the present, looking towards Lai with worry. Never mind. I'll check later. After a series of attacks on the Chaos Dragon, Lai retreated. It let out a low, threatening growl. Suddenly, the Chaos Dragon roared, its entire body covered in wounds. Jin Sung saw this situation. He quickly realized the level 75 Chaos Dragon's name tag is flashing. That means its HP has dropped below half. He thoughtfully calculated a plan. This is a chance, Numby. If I look at it from another perspective, it means I could only reduce its HP by half after attacking for so long. Jin Sung thought with a bit of fear, this thing is truly a monster. He hesitated, choosing his next move. I have to make a decision now. Realistically, can we win in our current state? Then Jin Sung sighed in frustration. After that, he turned back and called out to it. Lai. Jin Sung quickly gave the order, thank you for fighting so hard. Unsummon. After that, he said worriedly, there's no time to use emergency. First aid for healing. If the battle continues, my body will become sluggish. If that happens, I won't be able to dodge the dragon's attacks anymore. I can't win with Lai alone. Jin Sung tried to calm himself down, reassuring himself, so for now I have to try to minimize the losses. The Chaos Dragon saw him and roared loudly. Jin Sung picked up Papugi and said calmly, that's right, come over here. The Chaos Dragon quickly closed in on him. Jin Sung immediately thought losing a level and being unable to log in for 24 hours. The Chaos Dragon got right up to Jin Sung, opened its massive mouth, and roared. Just then, Oakley suddenly appeared. The old man said with a smile, you are truly full of surprises. Oakley gently raised his magic staff and commanded, you can return now. The Chaos Dragon's body immediately froze and became transparent. Jin Sung was momentarily stunned. Beside him, the system sound chimed again, you have conquered the Chaos Labyrinth. You have received 174,320 experience points. Level up, you have reached level 43. He thought in shock. Conquered Jin Sung wondered in confusion, so it was impossible to kill that dragon from the start. And the experience points are quite low, too. Then he plopped down exhaustedly and asked what the hell was that. Oakley walked over to him and said, surprising, truly surprising. I didn't think you could fight the Chaos Dragon that well. Jin Sung gave a bitter laugh and replied, what's so surprising? I still lost in the end and almost died too. Oakley shook his head and said, that's not it. That is a summon you cannot defeat with your current abilities. Congratulations, you have passed the test. Hearing that, Jin Sung was a bit confused. What you're saying that now? Are you messing with me? What do you mean, a test? Ockley spoke again in his deep, hoarse voice. What is your name? He hesitated before replying. Jin Sung. No, it's Ian. Ockley nodded. I see. So it's Ian. The old man asked again if he was interested in receiving his legacy. A second later, a quest notification, the path of a dragon tamer, appeared. Jin Sung was a little surprised. A dragon tamer. He chuckled lightly. Wait a minute, could this be a hidden class? He rested his chin on his hand in disbelief, thinking to himself, I did not know I could get a hidden class this way. It is not a scam, you know. Seeing his hesitation, Dackley quickly asked, what do you think? Do you want to inherit the legacy and become a legendary dragon tamer? Jin Sung pondered thoughtfully. Dragon tamer, the name itself sounds cool. But I wonder which is better, taming master or dragon tamer. He quickly calculated that he had easily unlocked the taming master class at the beginning of the game. Jin Sung felt a bit conflicted. He had almost unlocked the dragon tamer class after overcoming so many troubles, if that is the case. After thinking it through, he spoke decisively, all right. I want to change my class to dragon tamer. Dackley showed a hint of joy and said, very good, dragon tamer is a great class. I guarantee you will not regret it. The old man cast a spell, blessed the birth of this new dragon tamer. At the same time, a purple magic circle appeared in front of Jin Sung. A moment later, Dackley looked at the purple light on his hand and exclaimed in shock, impossible. Jin Sung asked curiously, what is it? What is wrong? A game notification appeared, you cannot change to a lower tier class. Class change to dragon tamer has failed. Jin Sung was also surprised, thinking class change failed. After a moment, Dackley looked at the system window and chuckled lightly, I see now. You are already on the path to becoming a master, no wonder. The old man continued, I knew you were not an ordinary summoner because of your red-maned wolf, but I never expected you to be a master. Hearing that, Jin Sung was stunned, thinking so. The taming master class is higher tier than the dragon tamer class. A little disappointed, but then he suddenly asked curiously, is my lie that special? Jin Sung calculated in his mind, I will try to dig for more information. Maybe I will find something useful. Dackley seemed slightly surprised and mumbled lie must be the wolf's name, then he explained. Your lie is a rare-grade red-mane wolf, but its power seems to be even greater than that. That is only possible if a tamer raises their summoned beast using a special method. After hearing this, Jin Sung was even more surprised internally. He can accurately assess lie's grade and power even for an NPC. That is very impressive. I guess the title of legendary dragon tamer is not just for show. Jin Sung asked with some curiosity, May I ask why you were waiting for a challenger like me? Dackley replied, of course. I almost forgot the most important thing. I was distracted by your summoning art. Jin Sung gave a forced smile and said the most important thing. He thought to himself, I knew it. There has to be a reward after passing this ridiculous trial. Jin Sung cursed inwardly. I almost walked away empty-handed because of this damned old man. Dackley quickly gestured, that is right, follow me. Elsewhere, the pained scream of an ice golem echoed. Johan swiftly moved in from behind, pierced through, and finished it off. He sighed in relief, saying, finally took it down. Beside him, Cloven came forward and praised, well done so. Now we have met the minimum requirement to upgrade to a village right. Johan nodded and replied, yes, Cloven. We have reached 1,000 territory points. Cloven urged gently, all right, let's go. Suddenly, a game announcement rang out, territory upgrade. The Lotus Base has been upgraded to Lotus Village. The position of Lotus Village Chief has been automatically granted to the Guildmaster. Cloven laughed loudly and said, what is this? You have become the village chief, huh? Johan laughed along and replied, I admit I look a bit old for my age, but Fionn also chimed in with a light laugh about our Guildmaster. He does look a bit mature. A moment later, Johan quickly regained his serious expression and said, the guild base upgrade is complete. Fionn praised teasingly and to think Sir Cloven's reputation is the highest. Suddenly, Johan grew pensive and said, I wonder if Ian is all right. Meanwhile, at Jin Sung's location, he let out a big yawn, then complained wearily. 5 straight days of sleeping only 2 hours a day is making me sleepy even inside the game. I am dead tired, my vision is starting to blur. He wondered to himself why he even agreed to this. Jin Sung gave a slight forced smile and said, I am starting to regret this. Back to the previous moment, Jin Sung was asking inquisitively a mandatory quest. Dackley nodded and replied, exactly those who pass the test can receive a reward. Along with a quest that cannot be refused, a quest they must complete. The old man said slowly, you will have no other choice. Jin Sung had a headache thinking, damn it, the risk is too high. If I fail or give up after accepting the quest, I will lose reputation equivalent to the quest's rank. Then Jin Sung asked curiously, you probably cannot. Tell me what the quest is beforehand, can you? Dackley shook his head and replied, "Not until you make your decision." Jin Sung pondered for a moment, calculating, but giving up here is not my style. After thinking, he said decisively, "All right then. I accept the quest." Dackley said softly, "I knew you would accept." A game system notification immediately announced you have accepted Dackley's offer, quest trace of the forgotten ancient monster. The legendary dragon tamer Dackley has sealed himself underground in the snow mountain of Croatia for over 1,000 years. Receive the divine dragon spirit stone from him and find the spatial mage. Difficulty B. Requirement: a summoner whose skills are recognized by Dackley. Party formation is disabled for this quest. Time limit none. Reward unknown. You cannot refuse this quest. You have accepted the quest. Trace of the forgotten ancient monster. Seeing this, Jin Sung was surprised and wondered, "Rank B, I'm not even level 50 yet. And who is this spatial mage? Is this not too difficult? Well, at least there is no time limit," he thought with some worry. "But if I cannot form a party during the quest, although I like playing solo, this means I cannot party up at all until I complete this quest. It might be impossible to do it alone right now, but it should be feasible after I level up and get stronger." At that moment, Dackley suddenly took something out from his robe. The old man held out a purple stone and said, "Take this." A game system notification sounded, "You have obtained the divine dragon spirit stone." Jin Sung asked inquisitively, "What is this?" Dackley replied, telling him a story from the past. "The truth is, I am a summoner from 1,000 years ago." The old man explained softly, "In my era, there were legendary monsters that no longer exist, like the summoned beast that was with me for a long time. And my best friend, the war dragon Cassius. 1,000 years ago, I was the leader of the long-vanished dragon tamers, and Cassius was one of the 5 divine dragons." Dackley spoke while recalling the past 1,000 years ago. The dragon tamers dwelling in the northern continent, the Prulania Valley, was attacked by evil dragons. Countless dragons and tamers died. There were too many evil dragons, and their lord Kalipa was stronger than even Cassius. That is why I had to flee and hide here in this Croatia snow mountain. The old man spoke with a hint of sadness about his past situation, because I had a duty to protect my companion Cassius. The evil dragons would not have spared us easily, so I had no choice but to seal myself and Cassius underground. Dackley continued, "And so I had to endure 1,000 years in this place. A place where not even a single ray of sunlight can reach, so that I could revive Cassius, and if possible, the dragon tamers as well." Jin Sung looked at the stone in his hand and asked, "And I can do that if I bring this to the spatial mage?" Dackley quickly answered, "The spatial mage will tell you how to bring the soul of the war dragon back to this world. Originally, I intended for you to inherit the legacy of the dragon tamers and give you the soul of Cassius. That way I could leave this world in peace. And the war dragon will become your summoned beast," the old man said in a slightly deep voice. "However, I never expected someone to have a class higher than a dragon tamer. I am still stunned that you possess a higher class, which is why the class change was not possible." Jin Sung stammered, "I understand." Then he asked again, "Only a dragon tamer can restore the spirit stone of Cassius?" Dackley shook his head and replied, "No, however, only the innate skill of a dragon tamer can revive Cassius as a new war dragon." Jin Sung was a bit confused. "Are not you also a dragon tamer? Cannot you do it yourself?" Dackley explained softly, "I am sealed, so I cannot use my skills." Jin Sung sighed. If it bears the title of a divine dragon, it must be an extraordinary summoned beast. Good heavens, what a pity. But this means the taming master class is even more impressive. Dackley spoke up again. "But if you take this spirit stone to the spatial mage, they will find another way to revive the war dragon. And take this. This is your reward." A notification popped up. "You have received a dragon tamer's decorative feather." Beside him, Dackley gently explained, "It is an artifact passed down to the leaders of the dragon tamers. However, you must find the spatial mage to break its seal. Only then will its true power shine." Jin Sung nodded and said, "Thank you. I will find the space mage at all costs," he thought to himself. "This thing looks good. It doesn't have enough power yet, but I'll be doing the quest anyway." At the same time, the old man's body suddenly glowed and disintegrated. He gently reminded, "To find the space mage, you must head to the eastern edge of the southern continent. You will find the space magic tower there. Finally, I have no more regrets and can rest in peace." The old man's voice came out tinged with urgency. "Please revive the descendants of the divine dragons in this world." Jin Sung let out a soft sigh. "Feels like I just received an extraordinary quest, huh? There's definitely more to this quest than its B-rank difficulty." And he also said to ask the space mage for help. There must be related quests. He gripped the feather in his hand, telling himself with determination, "I will see this through to the end." With that, he opened the system window to take a look. He said, "This is a sealed item, but let's check it out anyway." A moment later, Jin Sung shouted in amazement, "What legendary grade?" The item's information window popped up, Feather of the Dragon Tamer, Defense 36, item type headgear. Durability 150 out of 150, rank legendary locked, leadership plus 150 locked, affinity plus 200 locked, all attack stats plus 15%, bound to player. Cannot be traded or sold, does not drop on death. Default stats. All summoner stats increased by 20% and critical hit rate increased by 25%. When equipped, you can tame an unlimited number of monsters regardless of leadership points. However, you cannot summon them if you exceed the limit. Leadership locked. When equipped, leadership required to summon dragons is reduced by 50%. Locked. When equipped, affinity with the Dragon Tamer is increased. Locked. Jin Sung was slightly surprised. This item is really strange. He looked at the two items in his hand with astonishment. The personal stat boosts are insane. It can only be used on my account. With this, I'll be invincible if it gets unlocked. Jin Sung analyzed some of the stats and thought these parts are quite tricky and sneaky. He thoughtfully considered if the number of monsters you can capture is meaningless, but your summon runs out of health during a fight, you can always swap in another one. It's like substituting players in soccer. Jin Sung happily predicted, and taming a dragon is a common desire for all summoners. I'll definitely catch a dragon in the future, so the stat reduction from this feather is quite useful. With that thought, he gripped the feather tightly determined. I will complete this no matter the cost. Back in the present, Jin Sung muttered tiredly, I need to reach at least level 70. To complete a B-rank quest alone, so I think I need to level up first. His eyes were wide and bloodshot. Despite the exhaustion, he kept rambling but staying up for 5 days straight like this. Across from him, Lai was constantly moving and fighting. It let out a loud growl, then Lai and Slap charged forward to attack the monster in front of them, followed by a huge explosion. Along with that, a notification rang out. You have leveled up to 50. Jin Sung smiled lightly and praised, Hey, you guys look happy, huh? Good job. You have acquired the summoning magic power stat. You have acquired the soul magic power stat. A moment later, he plopped down exhausted and said, I'm so beat. Luckily, I hit level 50 before my buff ran out. Jin Sung quickly opened the notification screen to check, wondering to himself if it's theoretically possible, then there's nothing to do but practice. It was worth not sleeping for these past few days. But what is this soul magic power? Are you sure it's related to the summoner class? With that said, he stood up, stretched, and let out a long yawn. I don't think I have time to research it now. I should get some rest for a day. The game system continuously announced, you are the first summoner to reach level 50. You have received 1,500 fame points. A level 50 summoner has appeared in the Lucifer Kingdom on the Corona continent. A summoner's tower will be constructed in Mulan, the capital of the Lucifer Kingdom. Contribution to the summoner's tower has increased by 5,000 points. Now summoners of the Lucifer Kingdom can receive class-related quests. At the summoner's tower. Jin Sung was a little surprised. I'm the first one to reach level 50 in this class. Just as he was processing it, the system chimed again. Quest activated Prophecy of the Summoner. He curiously clicked on the notification screen. What quest is this? The quest information appeared. National Quest Prophecy of the Summoner. You are a prophet of summoning. You are a pioneer among all summoners of the Lucifer Kingdom. Your reputation has spread throughout the land, and therefore Emperor Celius wishes to meet you. Find Emperor Celius within 3 days. Quest difficulty requirement. Requirement, be the first summoner to reach level 50. Time limit 3 days. Reward unknown. If you decline the quest, your affinity with Emperor Celius will decrease. If you have no affinity, hostility points will increase. Do you accept the quest, yes or no? Jin Sung was slightly surprised, then said confidently, a national quest. This is a special quest that could give me a ton of fame and huge contribution rewards. I might even get a noble title. He cheered excitedly. I knew it. Kalon is a game that gives players great rewards if they level up high. This was the right decision. After that, Jin Sung quickly teleported to get some rest. I'm so sleepy now. I need to get some sleep and then head to Mulan as soon as I log back in. Time to sleep. Mulan, the capital city, Flauner, Bray's Lucifer Kingdom. The space around them suddenly shook violently. People shouted in fear, what's going on? An earthquake. They asked each other in confusion, an earthquake in a game look. Suddenly, a speck of fire appeared high above. People exclaimed in surprise, something's appearing. From within the flames, a tall tower emerged. Everyone exclaimed in surprise, a tower, it's a new tower, is it a quest tower for a new class? But which one could it be? The curious crowd wondered. At the same time, a game-wide announcement appeared for everyone. A high-level summoner has appeared in the Lucifer Kingdom on the Corona continent. A summoner's tower has been recreated in Mulan, the capital of the Lucifer Kingdom. Contribution to the summoner's tower has increased by 5,000 points. All summoners of the Lucifer Kingdom can now receive class quests at the summoner's tower. Seeing this, everyone was stunned and muttered, "The summoner's tower." It appeared first out of all the new classes. Are you kidding me? The first person to reach level 50 is a summoner. Which damn summoner is it? In the real world, it was the next morning. Jin Sung stirred and woke from his sleep. As he opened his bedroom door, he said refreshingly, "It's been a long time since I slept this well." Jin Sung quickly made a bowl of ramen and said, "Time for breakfast, then I'll check the forums for any news before getting in the game." He looked at his computer and wondered, why are there so many posts today? The comments in the posts were all exclaiming about something. What's this summoner's tower? Holy crap, I wonder who it is. That's crazy, level 50 for a new class. The tower really appeared in Mulan. Jin Sung was slightly surprised. There were dozens of pages of posts from all of last night. After understanding what was happening, he smiled proudly to himself. The summoner's tower looks like everyone was surprised by my achievement. The more he thought about it, the more Jin Sung grinned foolishly. Everyone's losing their minds. Suddenly, a comment popped up that caught his attention. "What's this?" The comment confidently stated, "I know who the level 50 summoner everyone is curious about is." Jin Sung wondered to himself while eating his ramen, "They know it's me." He said wearily, "These kinds of posts are always just clickbait." But Jin Sung was a little curious. "I can't stop myself from clicking it. This seems more legit than Jian's post." As soon as he clicked on the comment, Jin Sung was extremely shocked. He quickly recognized the image in the comment. "That's me." A while later, Jin Sung logged back into the game, still grumbling resentfully, so annoying. Jin Sung recalled the comments he just read. This summoner soloed an ice golem on the snowy mountain. On the Croatia snowy mountain. I'm sure he must be level 50. Yeah, right, this looks so fake. Are you trying to fool us with this fake picture? No way there's a wolf that big. It's definitely fake. If you're going to make a fake picture, at least make it look decent. Remembering this, Jin Sung grew even angrier and cursed these idiots. Fake, huh? He quickly summoned Lai. Jin Sung petted it and praised good boy Lai. If only that goofy turtle could be as strong as you, I'd summon it too. Jin Sung continued and used a summoning spell. Pipuji quickly appeared. Jin Sung asked worriedly, "Do you remember me?" Pipuji gave him an angry glare and turned away. Jin Sung asked gently, "Are you mad because I put you on my back?" He affirmed to himself that must be it. Jin Sung said gently, "I won't have to be afraid of anything if you're by my side. Pipuji, will you protect me?" He stroked Pipuji and said, "Pipuji, if you continue to protect me, I will give you 3 meatballs in the morning and 4 in the evening." "How about 4 in the morning and 3 in the evening, is that okay?" Seeing that Pipuji had calmed down, Jin Sung praised it. "You're a smart one, little turtle." He chuckled to himself, thinking it was so cute. Suddenly, a notification appeared, "You have received a message." Jin Sung wondered and turned to look at the message. Who could it be? It's Jo Hun. Jo Hun's message appeared on the screen. "Hey, Ian." Jin Sung's face darkened as he hastily shouted, "What the hell are you doing?" Jo Hun frantically messaged Jin Sung, "Are you the summoner who reached level 50? Jin Sung secretly smiled, thinking, so Jo Hun is the only one who knows it's me. He curiously looked at the notification above Jo Hun's message. Someone else besides Jo Hun messaged me. The message appeared, "Haran Ian, how have you been lately? When did you reach level 50? Seeing this, Jin Sung was touched and thought, Haran, she knows I'm the summoner who reached level 50. And she messaged me right away. He happily hummed softly. Even Joan was suspicious, but Haran is truly an angel. She's a paradise. I'll help her more during the upcoming summer break. Jin Sung quickly replied, "I reached level 50 yesterday and went straight to bed, so I couldn't reply. I just got on now." After a few minutes with no reply, Jin Sung sadly reassured himself, "I guess she's not online. I'll talk to Jo Hun then." In the message notification, Jo Hun had repeatedly asked, "Did you really reach level 50, you monster?" That's right, our guild recently established a dungeon in the northern region. The area is called the Rokon Snow Wall. Hurry up and help us out. It's pretty big and special. Jin Sung replied, "Nice, that's good." Jo Hun humbly replied, "We were just lucky. Come help us when you reach level 70, okay? The monsters here are pretty high level." Jin Sung replied, "I'll try to level up as fast as possible, but is there anything else?" Jo Hun replied, "Wait, let me see. I almost forgot. Can you stop training for a week?" Jin Sung was confused. Why? Jo Hun explained, "The Empire Arena is starting next week. You need to be level 50 or below to participate in the rookie tournament." Only then did Jin Sung panic and remember that's right. Why didn't I think about that? Winning gives 20,000 fame points. He quickly replied, "All right, a week is actually pretty long. I guess I'll do something else instead of training." Johan also replied, okay, good luck, see you later. Jin Sung sighed softly in that case. He turned to look at Pippuji for a moment, then picked it up and said, Pippuji, what should we do this week? That's right, let's do the Prophet Quest. I have to do it sooner or later. A few minutes later at the Summoner's Tower, Jin Sung looked at the tall tower before him, slightly amazed. This was created from my achievement. He chuckled to himself, saying, seeing this makes me quite proud. I like how they designed the entrance. With that said, he quickly entered the tower, all right. I still have plenty of time to check what's inside. Jin Sung looked around and praised this place is quite beautiful, similar to the Archer's Tower. He went up the stairs, preparing to go to the next floor. Then the Artifact Exchange Center must be on the 5th floor. They exchange items and skill books using contribution points. Jin Sung walked for a while and then stopped. Here it is. And seeing him enter, immediately approached to greet him. Hello, traveler. This is the Artifact Exchange Center. How may I help you? Jin Sung softly replied, I'd like to browse the artifact shop, and gently asked, may I have your name, please? So I can look up your contribution points. Jin Sung quickly replied, I'm Ian, and summoned an information orb and said politely, thank you, Sir Ian. Please wait a moment. A second later, she suddenly exclaimed, you're that person. Jin Sung thought to himself, that's right, but why does she look so happy? And joyfully grabbed his hand and said, this way, Sir Ian, we have many artifacts and spell books that can be exchanged with contribution points. Jin Sung replied shyly, okay. Thank you. And continued, by the way, your current contribution points are 5,000. She led Jin Sung to the artifacts and said, please take a look and let me know if you need to exchange anything. He thought pensively, okay, let's see what they have. Jin Sung looked at each item, thinking to himself, I'll have to look at their details to know what they do. He picked up an item to examine it. This has stats similar to the ancient summoner's iron sword I bought at the auction. Jin Sung seriously calculated 350 points. So this is its price, a tier 3. Quest gives me about 200 to 400 points, so it's not really that expensive. He wondered curiously, I wonder if there's any item that I can buy with contribution points that's as strong as the feather. No, that's a legendary grade item, so it would definitely require at least level 80. After thinking, Jin Sung said softly, probably not, and approached him and asked, did you not find anything suitable? Jin Sung replied, yeah, nothing really interests me. He thought hesitantly I should probably save my contribution points. Maybe there will be better items later, and continued to introduce, in that case, why don't you check out the skill books? Maybe there's something good there. Jin Sung asked curiously, skill books, and nodded and replied, yes, I'm sure you'll find something suitable there. Ian suddenly saw her smirk slyly. Jin Sung was a bit confused, but still replied politely, of course. Meanwhile, at the peak of Mount Koron Kropeya, Lim Long was facing an ice troll. He gently raised his weapon, ready to fight as he channeled energy into it. Then he swiftly closed in on the ice troll. With a cold expression, he lunged forward. Lim Long struck hard, inflicting multiple wounds on the ice troll, and a status notification for the monster appeared. The ice troll received a debuff armor reduction. Seeing this, Lim Long was a little surprised you're still alive. He once again leaped from his spot. Lim Long charged at the ice troll again, shouting, die. He agilely moved behind the ice troll. Lim Long channeled energy into the two weapons in his hands. The ice troll quickly turned towards Lim Long, but he had already moved elsewhere. Lim Long slightly raised his weapon, then precisely attacked the ice troll. When it was done, Lim Long sighed and said, this monster is so tanky. A level 65 troll is really different. He coldly surmised, I guess it'll take another half a day to reach level 50. Lim Long pulled down his face covering and said so then. I'm still level 49, but it seems some summoner already hit level 50 a few days ago. He chuckled and mumbled, I'm really looking forward to a one-on-one with him. Lim Long said to himself and quickly started moving again. Registration for the arena opens in 4 days. I should save time. He lightly jumped off the cliff. Lim Long spread his arms, free-falling. As his body plummeted, a light flashed from the ravine below him, and a giant bird appeared from nowhere. It then carried Lim Long soaring high into the sky. At the same time, back with Jin Sung, a dazzling golden light appeared on his hand. Jin Sung frowned slightly, bothered by the brilliant glow. He said in astonishment, this skill book is... Outside, the streets were bustling with crowds. Jin Sung looked at the books, thinking I went in and bought these two for 1,700 contribution points. System item information firewall. Skill type active. Skill level 0. Skill tier rare. Proficiency 0%. Cost 20 spirit mana. Cooldown time 3 minutes. Summons a temporary fire spirit to create a firewall. Blocking an enemy's attack with the firewall will absorb damage equivalent to 350% of magic power, and reflects fire damage equivalent to 200% of the summoner's magic power. Acquisition condition can only be obtained after learning the Summon Fire Spirit passive skill. Detailed item information electricity manipulation. Skill type active, skill level 0, skill tier heroic, proficiency 0%, cost 15 mana. Spirit mana. Cooldown 1 minute. Summons a lightning spirit to create lightning orbs in both hands. Throwing a lightning orb at an enemy deals damage equivalent to 250% of the summoner's magic power. The orb then splits into 4 and shoots out at high speed. If the split orbs hit an enemy or obstacle, they will bounce one more time before disappearing. After 5 seconds, enemies hit by electricity manipulation will have a 15% chance of being paralyzed for 20 seconds. The paralysis status reduces the target's speed by 30% and increases damage taken from electric attacks by 50%. Acquisition condition can only be obtained after learning the Summon Lightning Spirit passive skill. Activation condition can only be activated when the Lightning Spirit is summoned. After a moment of hesitation, he decided I particularly like this defensive skill. Its attack power is relatively low for a heroic tier skill, but the additional effects like paralysis are great. System display skill tier rare proficiency 0% cost 20 mana. Spirit. Cooldown 3 minutes, summons a temporary fire spirit to create a firewall. Skill type active, costs 15 spirit mana. Jin Sung exclaimed, "So this must be how you use summoner's magic power and spirits. Let's learn these skills first." Then he quickly absorbed the skill books. System. You have acquired the skill Summon Lightning Spirit through a skill book. You have acquired the Manipulation skill. Electricity surged from the skill book. Jin Sung looked at the glowing object in his hand in surprise. What is this? Immediately, a bird slowly materialized in the sky. It had a brilliant white appearance with bolts of lightning swirling around it.